Chapter 21:18. Sima Yue felt her underworld energy being sucked into the northern god seal. She wanted to pull her hand out but she couldn't. Don't move. There's a reaction. Sima Yue was speechless, but she managed to make Wu Lingyu stop. It was enough to have such a big hole. Wu Lingyu. At the last moment, Wu Lingyu hugged Sima Yue in his arms. He bore the final impact. You are. Sima Lu Xian ran over. How are you? You child, you should stop when you know it's dangerous. Why do you always do such dangerous things? Yu Kalua was frightened by Sima Yue. Father and the others said that my temperament is very similar to mother's. Sima Yue came out from Wu Lingyu's arms and pulled Wu Lingyu up. She smiled at Yu Kaluo. There are many types of pills here. Mother, you can decide what you need to take according to your condition. Yu Kaluo looked at the pills and ate 2 of them. The burning sensation in her body immediately dissipated. After a while, her complexion looked better. Just 1 pill was enough to make her struggle. If there were 4 of them, would she be able to control them? She put away the divine seal of the north and said, Father, Mother, Lingyu and I are both injured. The environment here is not suitable for us to recuperate. We will leave first and go to the surface to recuperate. After that, we will go and find Mulan. Yu Kaluo looked at Sima Yue and suppressed her worries. She smiled at her. Go ahead. Be careful. Mother will wait for you here. She kept Wu Lingyu in the spirit pagoda. Then, she looked at her parents deeply and left reluctantly. Okay. Yu Kaluo nodded with tears in her eyes. I just feel sorry for our daughter. She has to bear so much at such a young age. With such a daughter, what more can I ask for? With this experience, Wu Lingyu controlled his speed well. He only suffered light injuries and was not in as much pain as when he went in. I know you want to get the Southern Divine Seal as soon as possible. Let's not waste any more time here. I'll recuperate on the road for a while. Wu Lingyu smiled at her and allowed her to examine him. When they reached the nearest city, she asked He Yen to go back and entered the city with Wu Lingyu. Of course, when they entered the city, they were extorted a large sum of money from the entrance fee. How could Wu Lingyu not know what she was thinking? But this made his heart feel sweet, and he didn't argue with her. Sima Yue did not have much hope when she asked the Scarlet Bees to gather information. However, she managed to obtain some useful information. She looked at him who was recuperating. Her eyes flashed, but she didn't say anything. When Sima Yue saw that he was awake, she walked over and asked, You're awake. Have you recovered? Sima Yue gave him a checkup and confirmed that his body had recovered. Hearing his words, he said proudly, There really is. Didn't my disciple, Xiaoling, return to the infernal realm? He happened to be nearby recently. Let's go look for him and see if we can go to the capital through him. Sima Yue said. That's right. Sima Yue said. I heard that he was still here a few days ago, but he has already left. That's not a big deal. Let's chase after him. Sima Yue said. I heard that he stays at every place for a few days. Alas, when will these days come to an end? He really wanted to go back and manage his restaurant. He hadn't even studied the recipes that his master gave him. Chapter 21:19. Master, why are you in the infernal realm? Xiaoling was so excited that he wanted to hug Sima Yue, but was pulled away by Wu Lingyu. But you said you didn't know when you would come. I thought you wouldn't come back for a long time. I didn't expect you to come so soon. How long have you been here? How did you know I was here? Xiaoling said excitedly. Xiaoling looked around. They were now on the street. People who came and went saw him so excited and stopped to watch the show. Master, let's talk inside. Xiaoling made a gesture of invitation. After Sima Yue left, he followed in. The difference was too big. It's not just you who don't know. Even I don't know. The steward said. That's only after the young master came back. How would I know what happened to him in the Dark Sea City? Steward Xiao said. I've never heard the family head talk about it. If it's really someone powerful, family head, they won't hide this news. That's natural. The steward replied and turned to tell someone to report. This was originally a tea house. Xiaoling brought Sima Yue to the most private room and asked someone to make the best tea. What else could it be? Since I came back, I've been walking around and looking at the family's businesses. Just now, I was listening to the shopkeeper's report about the situation here. Speaking of this, he was angry. Master, let me tell you. They brought me back, and then made me do these boring things. Sigh, my parents insisted on letting me familiarize myself with the family business before letting me continue to open the restaurant. I had no choice but to follow. Xiaoling was depressed when he said this. It seemed that Xiaoling's parents still didn't think highly of his cooking. They hoped to use this patrol to cultivate his interest in the family business. Unfortunately, the effect wasn't very obvious. Xiaoling obviously didn't understand his parents' meaning. He only treated this matter as a mission to complete. He fantasized about finishing this matter quickly, so that he could open the restaurant. I do have something that I need your help with, but I'm not sure if you can help me, Sima Yue said. I want to see Mulan, Sima Yue said. I want to meet the ruler of the infernal realm, Mulan, Sima Yue said. I know this isn't an easy task, but it's fine if you can't help. But can you take me to the capital? Silmer. Sima Yue was silent. She could roughly guess what was going on. Xiaoling shook his head and said, Venerable One has been in seclusion recently. Other than those close to him, only those he summoned can see him. Now even my parents might not be able to do it. Even if they couldn't find Silmer, they couldn't possibly keep missing Mulan, could they? Tell me about it. However, there was no way to confirm if this method would work. What if he was just casually asking and didn't care about her whereabouts, even if he heard that she was coming? He might not come back. All right, then I'll cancel the rest of my schedule. I'll take you back to the imperial capital first. After saying that, Xiaoling went out to instruct the steward to prepare to go back. Young master's matter should be left to master and the rest. Thank you, Xiaoling, Sima Yue said gratefully. Chapter 21:20. Xiaoling trusted Sima Yue so much that he didn't even ask her why she was looking for Mulan. Master, I haven't even finished studying the recipes you gave me. After I came back, my parents made me take care of the family's affairs. I even want to go back to Minghai City. Xiaoling complained to her. Unfortunately, Uncle can't go. My parents won't let me go alone. Your parents want you to go back to the family, Sima Yue said. Actually, liking to cook doesn't conflict with your family's affairs. You have to find a balance. You can do what you like, but you can also live up to your parents' expectations. But I can't find this balance at all. They won't agree to let me open a restaurant. Xiaoling thought of his stubborn parents and had a headache. I have an idea. Xiao family's steward felt that his young master was a bit strange. Ever since Sima Yue came, he seemed to be very happy. He had a smile on his face all day long. He was very different from the young master who wasn't interested in anything. Could it be that he liked Sima Yue that much? So he was in a good mood when he saw her? If that was the case, then he had to report this to the family head. Xiao family and His Excellency had a complicated relationship, so Xiao family had a very special position in the infernal realm. Therefore, with Xiao family's name, no one dared to have any ideas about them. They returned to the imperial capital peacefully. Once they entered the city, Xiaoling chased everyone from Xiao family back. He brought Sima Yue and the rest to his courtyard. This is my courtyard. You can stay here without worry, Xiaoling said. Although Xiao family is big, there are many rules. You can feel more at ease here. Sima Yue didn't expect Xiaoling to be so meticulous. He even considered this point. She indeed didn't like those rules and didn't plan to stay in Xiao family. Needless to say, Xiao family didn't like Xiaoling's cooking. They definitely wouldn't be nice to her, the chef. She didn't want to be ridiculed by others. His arrangement was good. Xiaoling had just arranged a place for her to stay when Xiao family sent someone to rush him back. Master, I'll try your method when I go back. Do you think it will be effective? Xiaoling asked worriedly. I don't know, you'll know after you try it, Sima Yue said. You won't lose anything if it doesn't work. That's true. Xiaoling sighed. Seriously, you only know how to urge me. I haven't even had the chance to properly discuss cooking with Master. We'll have time to discuss it later, Sima Yue said. All right, I'll take my leave now. Xiaoling bowed and left. Before he had gone far, he began to scold the people who had come to call him. Sima Yue looked at Xiaoling's back and asked worriedly, "What if Silmer doesn't come back after learning that we're here? I think we should be prepared for both eventualities." Yes, if Silmer doesn't come back, we won't be so passive. Wu Lingyu agreed with her idea. Then let's think of a gentler way, Sima Yue said. After all, she had a favor to ask. If she went against the other party right away, wouldn't she be causing trouble for herself? However, Wu Lingyu didn't believe her. When had she ever been gentle when doing things like this? Xiaoling was summoned by his father as soon as he returned to the Xiao family. Other than his parents, his grandfather was also summoned. The three of them had been staring at him since he entered the door, as if they were interrogating him. Master, father, mother. Xiaoling bowed to the three of them. What's up with that master of yours? Where did she become your disciple? What's her identity? What did she learn from her? Xiaoling's mother pulled a long face as soon as she arrived. If she's a proper master, then bring her home and treat her well. I became her disciple in Nethersea City. She learned cooking, Xiaoling said. I knew it. You don't dare to bring back a master who can only cook. Xiaoling's mother slammed her hand on the table, making a crisp sound. Mother, how can you say that? Xiaoling was unhappy. I didn't bring her back because she likes peace and quiet. It's not because she's not presentable. How can you talk to your mother like that? Xiaoling's father shouted with a sullen face. And MBSU rereading Crazy Wife. 5th Miss Godly Doctor, Chapter 2120. Crazy Wife. The anti-theft mode has been activated. Only the first half of the chapter can't be connected to the previous one. Please search the hidden parts on Baidu. Heartless plus water. Then search Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Godly Doctor. Chapter 2121. Killing someone was a common occurrence in the abyss of hell. It would be abnormal if tens of thousands of people died every day in the imperial capital. Hence, they did not care about Sima Yue's life. But if that's the case, will Jin be angry? He seems to value this master a lot. Xiaoling's father said hesitantly. Jin finally turned his attention to the family business. If that person keeps encouraging him now, I'm afraid his heart will fly away again. Xiaoling Nyang said with a frown. I'm afraid that if we kill her directly, Jin will be disgusted and his heart will fly away again. Xiaoling's father said. That's possible. Master Xiao said. Why don't we talk to that person first and ask her to leave the imperial capital and stop pestering Jin? We'll give her whatever she wants. Xiaoling Nyang said. She came back with Jin for this. If she agrees, it's not impossible for us to spare her life. Xiao family head said. I'll leave this matter to you. Yes, father. I'll take care of this matter. Sima Yue was discussing with Wu Lingyu about their backup plan. Before they could come up with a comprehensive plan, they heard the servant girl say that Madam had arrived. Madam? Sima Yue was stunned for a moment before she reacted. Wasn't Madam Xiaoling's mother? She came quite quickly. Wu Lingyu said. It's a lot slower than I expected. Sima Yue said. I thought she would come when Xiaoling went back. She's probably waiting to see her son first. Wu Lingyu said. I'm afraid she's not here with good intentions. We'll know when we see. It was obvious that they were not here to welcome her. She just didn't know if they were going to use force or use force. Sima Yue was led to the living room by the servant girl. Sairni was already waiting there. Your Jin's master? Sairni looked at Sima Yue from head to toe. She was much younger than she had imagined. Seeing her arrogant look, Sima Yue did not bow to her. One was Xiaoling's mother, and the other was Xiaoling's master. They were of the same generation. Exactly. May I know who this is? She deliberately looked at Sairni and pretended not to know her. No, she didn't know her. I'm Shang'er's maid of honor, Silver replied. Oh, you're Xiaoling's mother. Nice to meet you. Sima Yue went to the other side of the main seat and sat down. Sylvie was displeased to see Lin Sanjiu sitting next to her. Young people should be more polite, she said with a sullen face. Sima Yue pretended to be confused and blinked her eyes. Then she looked as if she suddenly understood and said seriously, Madam Xiao, in terms of seniority, you're Xiaoling's mother, and I'm his master. Our seniority is the same. In terms of guests, since I'm living here, I'm considered the owner of this place. Since you're here, you're a guest. The host is here, but the guest doesn't even have the intention to get up. The host is already not fussing about it. Host? This is Shang'er's courtyard. You're just a guest who's staying here temporarily. How can you call yourself the host? Silver looked at her with disdain. Yes, this is your purpose. You're just greedy for glory and wealth. Madam Xiao, what do you mean? Sima Yue stopped smiling and looked at her unhappily. You're a cook. Didn't you come here with Shang? Or to live a better life? Silver waved her hand in disgust and said arrogantly, Our Shang, or will do great things in the future. He won't learn those lowly things. Since you know each other, name your price. Once you get what you want, leave the imperial capital. Go far away and don't bother him anymore. Lowly things? Sima Yue sneered. I wonder how Xiaoling will feel when he hears his own mother describing his passion like that. Shang'er naturally won't hear it. Silver said, Name your price. Madam Xiao, I think you've got it wrong. I'm here for my own business. I'm not interested in pestering Xiaoling and the Xiao family. I still have other things to do. If Madam Xiao has nothing else to say, please leave. Sima Yue had a bad impression of Silver because she didn't want to waste time and energy dealing with her. You're chasing me away? What right do you have to chase me away? This is my son's courtyard. If anyone should leave, it should be you who's an outsider. Silver shouted. You said it yourself. This is Xiaoling's courtyard. Now that he's lending this place to me, I have the right to chase away anyone I don't want to see. Sima Yue said, Madam Xiao, why don't you ask the guards and maids outside and see if they'll listen to you or me? You. Of course, Sylvie wouldn't ask. She knew her son well enough to know that he treasured this chef a lot. He would definitely order these people to listen to her. If she asked, she would just be looking for humiliation. Madam Xiao, since you're Xiaoling's mother, I'm asking you to leave this time. If you speak rudely again, I don't know what I'll do. Sima Yue paused and said, I'll leave after I'm done with my business. You don't have to worry about what I'll do to Xiaoling for Xiaoling's sake. She didn't want their relationship to be so strained. That was why she said that. However, Silver obviously didn't believe her. In Silver's heart, she was just a greedy cook. She couldn't believe her words. I advise you not to refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Not only is the forfeit hard to drink, you have to be alive to drink it. Yes, if I'm alive to drink the forfeit, I'll tell Madam Xiao how it tastes. I still have things to do, so I won't keep you company. After saying that, she stood up calmly and left without looking at Silver again. How could such a mother raise such an innocent Xiaoling? She'd better leave. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to control the wild energy in her body and do something unkind. Stop. It was the first time Silver was ignored like that. She stood up and shouted. At the same time, she waved her hand and threw a spiritual energy towards Sima Yue. Sima Yue felt the murderous intent behind her and teleported to avoid the spiritual energy. Boom! The spiritual energy created a big hole in the courtyard. Sima Yue came out from the other side of the courtyard. She was furious. I thought that Madam Xiao, as the madam of the family, would at least care about her reputation. I didn't expect you to sneak an attack from behind. This has really broadened my horizons. Chapter 21-22. Ernie didn't expect Sima Yue to dodge so easily. She didn't seem to be very strong, but her reaction was quite agile. I gave you a chance, but you didn't take it. Ernie didn't feel embarrassed. She raised her chin and looked at Sima Yue. I also told you that it's not easy to drink the punishment wine. Thinking of her identity and the fact that she needed her brother's help, Sima Yue tried her best to suppress her murderous intent. I'll give you one last chance. If you continue to speak rudely or seek death, I'll be happy to fulfill your wish. Black Shadow, throw her out. Black Shadow appeared beside Ernie. He grabbed her clothes and threw her out. Just like that, Ernie flew out. You're so rough, Sima Yue teased him. If you don't know how to be gentle with women, you won't be able to find a wife in the future. Black Shadow looked at her unhappily. Wasn't she the one who asked him to do that? Sima Yue felt that she called the wrong person. She should have asked Huan to do it. He would know that although she said that, she didn't want Ernie to leave in this way. Forget it, just throw her out. Although it would be troublesome for the future, at least at this moment, she felt good. Ernie didn't expect Sima Yue to have such a powerful person by her side. Before she could react, she was thrown out. Fortunately, she reacted quickly. Before she landed, she twisted her body in the air. When she landed, she staggered a little, but at least she didn't embarrass herself. This chef. She must kill her. Bang! The sound of the door closing made her even angrier. She swore in her heart that she would make Sima Yue die a horrible death. However, she didn't rush in to kill Sima Yue. Her remaining rationality reminded her that Sima Yue still had a powerful person by her side. If she wanted to kill her, she had to think carefully. Creak. The door opened again. Ernie thought that Sima Yue regretted her actions and wanted to apologize to her. She smiled proudly. However, her smile froze on her face before it could fully bloom. The person who came out of the door was not Sima Yue. She was just a servant girl who followed her in. Even the maidservants had walked out through the door, but she had been thrown out. This was a great humiliation to her. When the two maidservants saw her, they quickly ran over. "Madam, are you all right?" Sil glared at the two of them coldly before she turned and left. The two maidservants felt the murderous intent in her eyes. They hesitated for a moment, but still hurriedly followed her. Although there was killing intent in Madam's eyes, at least she wouldn't make a move now. Later on, when Madam's anger subsided, they might still be able to live. But if they didn't follow him now, they would die immediately. When Ernie returned to the Xiao family, she angrily went to find Xiaoling's father. This is infuriating. How dare that person? Sylvie's words stopped abruptly when she saw Xiaoling. She stepped out of the door and looked around. This was her husband's study room, but Xiaoling actually appeared here. This was the first time in history. Xiaoling also looked at her in confusion. "Mother, what were you talking about just now? Who made you angry? Isn't it?" Sylvie was about to say something when Xiaoling's father gave her a look. "It's nothing. I was just angry when I was dealing with the family matters. Why are you here? Didn't you ask me to learn how to deal with the family matters? I'm here to learn. There's something I don't understand that I want to ask father." Xiaoling replied, then advised her. "Don't worry too much about that. If you don't do well, you can just switch. Don't be angry at yourself." "Okay, I understand," Sylvie casually replied. "If you have anything else, I'll come back later." "No need. I've already asked father everything I wanted to ask him," Xiaoling said. "I haven't finished reading the account book that grandfather gave me. You talk to father. I'll go back and look at the account book." With that, he picked up the pile of books on the desk and left. Sylvie watched him leave with a smile. When he was out of sight, she said to his father, "Our Xiao has really changed." "Yes, that's rare." Xiaoling's father smiled with satisfaction. All the effort he had spent was not in vain. "What did you want to say just now? That the chef refused to leave?" She didn't just refuse to leave. At the mention of Sima Yue, Sylvie's anger flared up again. She told her father everything that happened after she went to look for Sima Yue. Towards the end, she was already gritting her teeth. She could not wait to get someone to kill Sima Yue to vent her anger. However, Xiaoling's father remained silent. He did not send someone to deal with her directly like before. "Let's not touch this person for the time being." "Why?" Sylvie exploded. "Didn't we agree to get rid of her if she doesn't want to leave? And she insulted me like that. How can I tolerate her living in this world? But after what happened today, I think it's better for us to put this matter aside for the time being." "Why?" Although Xiao has already started learning about the family matters, he hasn't settled down yet. If he's provoked now, it might trigger his rebellious nature. Then we're not going to care about this person. Are we not going to care about the insults I mentioned? Of course not. How can we let you be wronged? I'm saying that we can put this matter aside for a while. When Xiao or has completely settled down and feels that she's not important anymore will do it. How long do we have to wait? I'm so angry. Sylvie was unhappy. Is it more important to vent your anger for yourself or for Xiao's future? Xiaoling's father coaxed. Let her live for a few more days. You can just kill her later. Sylvie was unwilling, but for her child, she could only endure it. When we get her back, I'll kill her myself. As long as you're happy, I'll do whatever you want. Sima Yue waited for a few days. She thought that the Xiao family would continue to cause trouble for her, but they did not even show up. It was as if the incident that day had never happened. In order not to cause more trouble, she did not go out for the rest of the day. She waited for Sylvie's return and news from Xiaoling. Just as she was about to lose her patience, and was about to use the backup plan, 2 pieces of news finally came back. Sylvie was back. She went to the Xiao family, because Xiaoling was sick. Xiaoling's illness was very strange. There were no signs or symptoms. Otherwise he would be bedridden. This worried the Xiao family. They invited many doctors, alchemists and poison masters, but none of them could figure out the reason. That was why Sylvie went to see him as soon as she returned. Chapter 21-23. Sylvie was very surprised to see her brother. There was dust on his clothes and stubble on his chin. He looked travel-worn, completely different from his previous image. What's wrong with Xiaoling? Sylvie asked. I don't know what happened, but he's suddenly bedridden and his life force is constantly depleting. We've found many doctors and pill refiners, but they can't tell what's wrong. Only one doctor said that he's depressed and has lost his passion for life. Sylvie wiped her eyes and said, Brother, go see what's wrong with him. Sylvie didn't like to see women cry, even if it was his sister. He answered casually and went straight to Xiaoling's courtyard. Xiaoling was lying on the bed, his face sallow and his eyes lifeless. In just 2 short months, he had become a bag of bones and looked a little scary. When he saw Sylvie, he called out weakly, Uncle. Sylvie went to check on him and didn't say anything. He only glanced at him indifferently. Brother, how is Jean? Sylvie looked at him nervously. Xiaoling also looked at him nervously, not knowing what he would say. I can't tell for now. He let out a sigh of relief after hearing Sylvie's words. What did he go through during this period of time? Tell me in detail. Sylvie told him about how Xiaoling was no longer obsessed with cooking, and how he was wholeheartedly focused on managing the family. Then he said, I noticed a while ago that he hasn't smiled in a long time. He's like a walking corpse. Then he suddenly fell ill. Those people we found couldn't do anything. If even you don't know what happened, what will he do? She started crying again as she spoke. Sylvie frowned impatiently and said, You guys go out first. I have something to ask him in private. Sylvie and the others didn't dare to disobey him, so they all left. Sylvie casually set up a barrier and poured himself a cup of tea. He sat at the table and said softly, Sima Yue's idea? Yes. Xiaoling stopped pretending and sat up to meet his eyes. I knew you wouldn't come up with such an idea. She gave it to you? Yes. The medicine given by Sima Yue was not harmful to the body. Although it would make the body slimmer, it would not affect the qi, blood, and cultivation. Moreover, ordinary people would not be able to tell. Aren't you afraid that it won't work? Trying is better than not trying at all. What if it works? So, don't I need your help now? Tell me, how do you want me to help you? Sima Yue wanted to look for Silmer when she heard that he was back, but she held herself back when she thought about Xiaoling. She originally thought that it would take him a few days to help Xiaoling, but she didn't expect to see him on the afternoon of her return. Along with him were the people she didn't want to see. Miss Yue, my brother-in-law said that your medical skills are very good. Please save my son. Xiaoling's father immediately pleaded when he saw Sima Yue. Ernie didn't say anything. Seeing that she was still a little uncomfortable, she subconsciously turned her face away. What's the matter with you guys? She said this to Ernie and the others, but she was looking at Silmer and Xiaoling who was being carried in. Why did they come to her place? This was not part of their plan. Shouldn't Xiaoling only get better after Silmer came back, and got them to agree to let Xiaoling continue cooking? Why did they bring him to her place? My son is seriously ill. My brother-in-law said that your medical skills are very good, so we want to ask you to save him, Xiaoling's father said. Sima Yue saw that Silmer didn't want to say anything, so she nodded and said, then I'll try. But it might not work. I need to see the cause of his illness first. She pretended to check on Xiaoling, then shook her head helplessly and said, mental illness needs mental medicine. I can't do anything. However, the Xiao family thought that she was a capable person. They didn't tell her anything. She only took his pulse and she knew that it was a mental illness. It was clear that her medical skills were superb. You can find the cause of his illness so quickly. You must have a way to save him. Save him, and we'll give you anything you want, Sylvie said in a firm tone. It's not that I don't want to help him, but I really can't. Sima Yue said, I know that you've always been against him cooking. If I tell you that you have to follow his wishes to save him, will you agree to let him cook? Well, the Xiao family hesitated. Is there no way to make him better? Aren't your medical skills amazing? Don't tell me you're just an empty title. Silmer said firmly. I don't need to prove to you that I'm just an empty title. If you had a way, would you still need to come to me? Sima Yue said sarcastically. Yue. Silmer called her name. Sima Yue glanced at him and said, say it has nothing to do with my medical skills. Even if I cure him today, he'll still be like this tomorrow. He'll just suffer another round of pain. If that's the case, it's better for him to just die and suffer less. After all, the Xiao family won't agree to let him cook. If that's the case, why should we bother? Well, Xiaoling's father looked at Silmer, waiting for his opinion. Other than her, no one else in this world can save him, Silmer said. Is there no other choice? They could either die or let him do what he wanted to do. I don't have any, but you can ask other doctors. Maybe they'll have a way. Sima Yue's meaning was obvious. If they didn't agree, they could only watch him die. She wouldn't do something useless anyway. Carry him back. We'll decide what to do after you've made a decision, Silmer said to the Xiao family. Then he turned to her and asked, I heard that you're looking for me? Yes, Sima Yue said. If it's convenient, I'd like to talk to you alone. Okay. Silmer and Sima Yue left. The Xiao family looked at the thin Xiaoling and didn't know what to do. Bring him back, bring him back. We'll talk about it after the discussion. Xiaoling's father said so the others could only follow. Silmer and Sima Yue went to the pavilion in the backyard. Sima Yue made him a pot of tea. Sima Yue thought he would ask about Xiaoling, but he didn't expect her to say directly, Tell me, why are you looking for me? Sima Yue didn't beat around the bush and said directly, I want to see Mulan. I need your help. Chapter 21-24. Silmer was very surprised. He stared at her and saw that she was not joking. He asked, You want to see His Excellency, in what capacity? The little princess of the ghost realm? No, personally. In my own capacity. Why do you want to see him? His Excellency is now in seclusion. If there's nothing important, you can't disturb him. I know he's in seclusion. That's why I want to ask for your help. Sima Yue said. This is very important to me. I have to see him. Is it related to your mother? Yes. Tell me the details first. I'll think about it. Silmer said. Sima Yue hesitated. She knew that he would not agree to anything, so she nodded and said, I want to ask him for the Southern Godly Seal. What? Even the knowledgeable Silmer was shocked by her words. Do you know what the Southern Godly Seal is? I know. It's an ancient artifact. Since you know, do you think he'll give it to you? How would I know if I don't try? Sima Yue smiled. Besides, I have to get it, even if he doesn't want to. Seeing her determined attitude, Silmer suddenly guessed something. It has something to do with your mother? Yes. In order to open Mother's seal, I have to gather the 4 godly seals. So I have to get the Southern Godly Seal. The 4 Godly Seal? Do you know that the Northern Godly Seal has been missing for a long time, and the Western Godly Seal is in Clear Soul's hands? With his relationship with you, will he give it to you? Seeing that she was not surprised or worried, Silmer said, You've already gathered the other 3? Yes. Sima Yue nodded. Silmer knew that she had already made up her mind. Even if he did not help, with her personality, she would find other ways to get it. Okay, I'll take you there. But he wanted to say that there should be no conflict, but after thinking about it, he changed the topic. Although I can take you there, if anything happens, I'll still stand on the side of the abyss. I understand. I'm already very grateful that you're willing to take me there. Sima Yue said. When are you going? Of course, the sooner the better. Sima Yue said, but we have to deal with Xiaoling first. Once she went to look for Mulan, she would no longer be able to control what would happen next. Xiaoling's matter had already come to her. It was impossible for her to ignore it. With their personalities, I'm afraid they'll have to wait for a few more days. Silmer knew the Xiao family very well. Sima Yue thought for a while and smiled at him. Why don't you go and add fuel to the fire? Silmer glanced at her, gave a faint nod of acknowledgement, and left. The Xiao family. In Xiaoling's courtyard, all the servant girls, manservants, and guards did not dare to breathe loudly. All of them lowered their heads, wishing that they could eliminate their presence. So it's like this. After hearing his son and daughter-in-law's explanation, Master Xiao only said these few words and then fell silent. Father, what do you think you should do if she continues to be like this? Sylvie recalled what Sima Yue said and her tears fell again. Don't cry. What's the point of crying now? Elder Xiaoling was very helpless about his wife's tendency to cry. Can that person really save you? Master Xiao asked. From what she said, it's possible. However, she doesn't want to. She feels that even if she's cured now, she'll still relapse in the future. Right now, it's just a waste of energy, Elder Xiaoling said. Sigh, I never thought that you would be so obsessed with cooking. I don't believe that she's the only person in this world who can do it. Master Xiao did not believe Sima Yue. Let's find more people to take a look. Since we know the cause of yours illness, I don't believe that there's no one who can cure you. Then you'll have to hurry. Silmer walked in from outside and said. Brother, what do you mean? Sylvie asked. She wants to see his honor. See his honor. Chapter 21-25. Sima Yue and Xiaoling didn't do anything in the house. She only gave him one antidote, and Xiaoling's face looked much better. However, they couldn't go out now, they had to put on an act. Master, thank you. Xiaoling sat on the bed and smiled gratefully at Sima Yue. You're lucky to have met a family that isn't too bad. Sima Yue said. If everyone in the Xiao family valued his future more than anything else, such a method wouldn't have any effect. Master, I heard from uncle that it's very dangerous for you to find his honor. Xiaoling said. Are you confident? Do you mean that I can get the thing or escape unscathed? Sima Yue asked. Actually, I don't have either. Then why are you still going? Can't you not go? Xiaoling was anxious. I have to go. I don't have a way out. Sima Yue said. Some things can't be avoided just because you don't want to. That's why I said that you're considered lucky, Master. Although your father and the others wanted to kill me, they did treat you well. Although you like to cook, you have to think about them sometimes. Sima Yue said. Hobbies and responsibilities don't conflict. Xiaoling felt that Sima Yue's words had a deep meaning. He had been too self-centered all this time. He suddenly wanted to know what his master went through. Why did he feel that so many things had happened to his master? Master, can you tell me about yourself? He sat down beside her. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. What do you want to hear? Just tell me how you grew up. All right, since we have nothing to do now, we can just sit here and do nothing to pass the time. Sima Yue thought for a while and picked some things to talk about, sometimes answering some questions from Xiaoling. She felt that what she said was already very simple, but it still made Xiaoling look at her with admiration and sympathy. Master, I didn't expect you to go through so many things. Xiao Gao sighed and said, Master, if you didn't say it, I wouldn't have been able to tell that you have so many things on your shoulders. Compared to you, my life is indeed too selfish. You're just too addicted to your hobby. It's not a bad thing. Sima Yue comforted him. Master, you're right. Other than hobbies, I should do something else, Xiaoling said. Last time in the Dark Sea City, she said that hobbies and cultivation did not conflict. The stronger one was, the longer one could live. Now he was no longer against cultivation. He had always thought that he was doing well. Now that he heard about Sima Yue, he realized how bad he was. There's a balance between hobbies and responsibilities. You just have to think about it in the future. You don't have to force yourself to do it all at once, Sima Yue said. Okay, I got it, Xiaoling replied. Alright, it's about time. If we don't go out soon, they'll be anxious. Sima Yue said. Okay. Xiaoling lay back on the bed. Sima Yue removed the barrier and opened the door. The Xiao family members who were guarding outside immediately came up to her. Okay, you can go in now, she said to the Xiao family members. Xiao Gao's father bowed to her, then walked around her and went in. Sima Yue went to the living room. Silmer and Wu Lingyu were looking at each other in silence. Let's go, she said to Silmer. Silmer nodded and brought her and Wu Lingyu to the palace. Perhaps because he had been here before, the people in the palace directly brought them to the place where Mulan cultivated. Mulan looked very delicate, which made her look very different from the environment of the Avicii Hell. You're Sima Yue. Mulan sized up Sima Yue. I've heard a lot about you. I didn't expect to meet you so soon. Yue greets the Supreme One. Sima Yue bowed politely. After all, she had a request to make, so she couldn't be less polite. No need. Mulan waved her hand. Silmer said that you want to ask me for the Southern God Seal? And in you rereading Crazy Wife. 5th Miss Godly Doctor Chapter 2125. Crazy Wife. The anti-theft mode has been activated. Only half of the chapter is connected to the previous chapter. Please search the hidden parts on Baidu. Heartless plus water. Then search Crazy Wife. 5th Miss Godly Doctor Watch. Chapter 2126. The legend of the Valley of Death. Going against the king of a realm was not a wise thing to do, especially offending the kings of two realms. This was not good for the ghost realm. Therefore, it was best to exchange for the Southern God Seal peacefully. Divine Medicine I. In the past, there was an emperor in the infernal realm who was buried in the Valley of Death. His divine medicine was also left in the Valley of Death. Mulan said, "Are you willing to exchange the divine medicine for the Southern God's seal? You'll have to find it." Mulan waved his hand in the air, and the image of the divine medicine I appeared. Death God's Valley. Actually, its name is a little scary. It's just that it's a little more dangerous and more people die there. You'll know when you get there. Mulan replied. Mulan and Silmer stayed at the top of the tower. He said that if there's anyone in this world who can find the divine medicine it's only her. If even she can't find it, then we won't be able to see the sky. Mulan was not sure. Sima Yue was his last hope. If Sima Yue knew what he was thinking, she would be shocked. It turned out that she was not looking for him, but he was waiting for her. Don't you think I should give up hope? Mulan looked into the distance and suddenly remembered what Sima Yue said. He laughed silently. If it's her, I think we can look forward to it. Silmer said, some people look like they have great luck. People like them usually do things smoothly. From Sima Yue's experience, she's also someone with great luck. Mulan was plotted against in the past. Although he survived, he was left with hidden injuries. Only the divine medicine I could heal him completely. If he could not find the divine medicine he had no hope. Silmer was silent for a long time before replying, okay. However, he still hoped that Sima Yue could find the divine medicine It would be good for both of them. Death God Valley, Shang City. Why are the names of these places so ominous? Sima Yue curled her lips. Hearing these names made people feel like death was approaching. Yes. Sima Yue agreed. It was not a wise decision to go in when they were not familiar with the place. When the two of them were checking in, they asked the innkeeper, Innkeeper, do you know anyone who is willing to be a guide for Death God Valley? Because it's too dangerous? According to what you said, isn't this Death God's Valley extremely dangerous? Why are there still so many people wanting to go in? Oh, there's a legend? Sima Yu's kindness was piqued. Shopkeeper, can you tell us about it? Sure. What do you want to hear? He put away the crystal. Alright, let's start with the Snow Maidens. Snow Lady. I heard that in the Snow Mountain in the Death God Valley, there is a Snow Lady. Anyone who sees her is eaten by her. The shopkeeper said. She's beautiful. I heard that she's a very beautiful woman. From afar, she looks like a fairy. However, she's very cruel. Her mouth is bigger than a person's, and she eats people directly. The shopkeeper shuddered as he spoke. Naturally, someone saw her. The shopkeeper said. Someone saw her from afar. At first, she was still a beautiful woman. Then her mouth suddenly became bigger. It's true. Only her mouth became bigger. Some people did not believe it and wanted to check it out. In the end, no one came back, no matter how strong that person was. Chapter 21-27. If the Snow Lady is so powerful, does that mean no one goes to the Snow Mountain? Sima Yue asked. Alright, I got it. Sima Yue replied. Are there any other legends? Why? Since they know the use of the spring water, someone must have successfully obtained it. Wu Lingyu said. What else? Sima Yue was surprised. This shopkeeper was an expert. He knew that she had the body of a spirit. No wonder this place was called the Valley of the Death God. Those legends sounded so unbelievable that even they were amazed. Of course, Sima Yu's heart would not change because of these legends. But without a guide, it will be difficult to go. Shopkeeper, since you know so many legends, you must have lived here for a long time, right? Do you know any guides? Can you introduce a reliable one to us? A group? He glanced at Sima Yue. The two of them were just staring at him, and did not seem to be in a hurry. He could only continue. One is organized by the locals. You have to pay to enter. There will be guides and experts to protect you. There will be a fixed time or number of people who will enter the valley. Then they will bring you to where you want to go. That's right. The entry fee is quite expensive. However, the guides are better. The shopkeeper said. The second type is also organized by the locals. They also have better guides. They enter the valley. However, they are not very strong. Hence, they want to recruit people. In this type, you have to do their things before you can do yours. The shopkeeper said. This type does not require any entry fee. However, there is less freedom. Usually there is always an entry fee. However, it depends on luck. You can go to the Tower of Sin in the city. If there is, it will be there. 2 hours later, Sima Yue saw the two big words. She said in shock. I thought the shopkeeper was talking about the Tower of Drunkenness. I didn't expect it to be the Tower of Sin. What kind of boss would give it such a name? Sima Yue looked at the mysterious old man and blinked. Aren't you badmouthing him too? Sima Yue pursed her lips and nodded at him. Wu Lingyu stepped forward, blocking the old man's view. He cupped his hands in greeting and said, Senior, are you from this city? Senior, do you know everything about this place? Sima Yue crooked her head out from behind Wu Lingyu. Are you here to form a team too? Sima Yue asked again. It could be considered as such again. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, We just came here and don't know much about this place. Why don't we learn from you, Senior? Sima Yu's pupils shrunk. What a powerful old man. The old man pursed his lips, but he didn't do anything out of line. He walked in with his hands behind his back. This scene is really like the job market in my previous life. Sima Yue sighed. Which group do you want to join? The old man asked. The group on the left has to pay a fee. The group on the right doesn't have to pay. The old man seemed to have seen someone he didn't want to see. He said to Sima Yue, You can go take a look yourselves. I have something to do, so I'll leave first. She looked at the signboard on the second floor. It said for VIP only. It seemed like this old man was a VIP. Thinking about his ability, she felt that there was nothing to be surprised about. How about you? Even Wu Lingyu didn't have the confidence to win? Who was this person? Chapter 21-28. There were many strong people in this world. It was not strange to meet a strong old man. Therefore, Sima Yue did not focus on the old man. She and Wu Lingyu went to understand the groups. They first looked at the groups that required a membership fee. There was a form in front of each table. It stated who their guide was, how many times they had entered the Valley of Death, the strength of their bodyguards, and so on. For those that did not require a membership fee, they also wrote down their guide and their bodyguards. At the same time, they also wrote down what they wanted to do and where they wanted to go. If there were people who wanted to go to similar places or just wanted to go in to find something, they could join this group. Sima Yue looked around. For safety reasons, they chose the group with the most expensive membership fee and the strongest overall team. Following this map, at least they would not have to worry too much in the early stages. After they paid, the person gave them a piece of paper with the requirements for entering the Valley of Death written on it. Sima Yue looked at the list of things that were not allowed. She regretted joining this group. She wondered if she could get a refund. Just as she finished thinking, she saw the last line that stated that once the money was paid, it would not be refunded. It was probably because there were too many people who requested a refund in the past. That was why this was written at the end. Not refunded? Why shouldn't they refund it? We've only paid the money for a few minutes, and you're already turning your back on us? A sharp voice rang out. That loud voice was exceptionally loud even in this noisy hall. Seeing that someone was causing trouble, the entire hall quietened down and looked towards the direction of the voice. Sima Yue also turned her head to look. Indeed, it was the group that she had joined. She had noticed the person who was speaking earlier. He had joined 2 people before her. Now, it seemed like he was regretting after reading the terms. Didn't you see what it said? Once the money is paid, it will not be refunded. A lazy voice was heard. If everyone joined and left as they pleased like you, wouldn't we be busy to death? How would we have time to go to the Valley of Death? You're extorting us. We didn't even go in. Why can't we get a refund? The person retorted. Why? Just because this was the Sin Tower. Brat, if you want to cause trouble, think about where you are first. The lazy voice was not nervous at all. Even the threat did not have any deterrence. However, to Sima Yue's surprise, the man's body stiffened when he heard her name. He then pushed her away and left. He's leaving just like that? Weren't you screaming so loudly just now? Sima Yue stared at his back. She thought that there would be a good show, but it ended before it even started. Someone heard her words and chuckled. Even if he wants to cause trouble, he should look at the place first. This is Sin Tower. Who would dare to cause trouble here? Is Sin Tower very powerful? In Shang City, the Sin Tower is even more powerful than the City Lord Mansion. Whoever dares to cause trouble here doesn't want to stay in Shang City anymore. Is this your first time here? Seeing Sima Yue nod, the man continued. That's normal. You don't know, but in Shang City, in the Valley of Death, you can't survive alone. You have to team up with others. However, if you offend Sin Tower, no one will, and no one will dare to take you in. Is Sin Tower that powerful? Sima Yue was even more curious about Sin Tower. Little girl, if you don't want to stay here for long, then don't learn about these things. Be careful not to scare you. I'm not afraid, I'm brave. Sima Yue looked at him, hoping that he could tell her more about Sin Tower. Look, although there are many teams here, they are all managed by Sin Tower. As long as the boss behind Sin Tower says a word, who dares to not listen? They're all from the Tower of Impugning. This was something she had not guessed before. That's right. Moreover, every team has many guards. Although some of them are hired by themselves, the 4 strongest people in the team are all from Sin Tower. With so many strong people, who would dare to behave atrociously here? Hearing you say that, Sin Tower is really powerful. Sima Yue sighed. I wonder who the boss behind this is? Half of the City Lord's authority has been taken away, and they don't have any opinions? We don't know about that. We can only see that the surface is good. As for the boss, very few people have seen him before. I heard that he is an incredible person. After that person finished speaking, he heard someone calling for him and left. Sima Yue was a little curious about the boss behind Sin Tower. To be able to achieve such results in a place like this, he was definitely not an ordinary person. However, she did not plan to find out more about that person. It says that there's still half a month's time before we enter the valley again. We can stay in the city to understand the news of Death God Valley. She kept the paper and said to Wu Lingyu, "Let's go back." Just as the two of them walked out of Sin Tower's door, a shadow suddenly rushed towards them. Wu Lingyu reacted quickly and pulled Sima Yue behind him, while using his other hand to slap the shadow. The person did not expect someone to react so quickly, and even dare to attack him. Seeing that the two of them were about to collide, the person shifted her body and dodged Wu Lingyu's attack. So strong. Sima Yue looked at the person in shock. It was a woman who looked to be in her 20s. The woman put one hand on her waist and pointed at Wu Lingyu with the other hand. "Get out of the way. You almost bumped into us," Wu Lingyu said with a heavy face. It was fine if she bumped into him, but if he was not there, Sima Yue would have been hit by her and would definitely be injured. Thinking of this, he looked at the woman with a murderous gaze. However, the woman clearly did not want to be entangled with him. Wu Lingyu did not move aside. She stood at the door of Sin Tower and shouted inside, "Naiha, you bastard! Get out here right now! Naiha, if you continue to hide from me, I will destroy your Sin Tower! Naiha!" Sima Yue came out from behind Wu Lingyu and looked at the slightly fierce woman in front of her. She blinked her eyes curiously and asked Wu Lingyu, "Is this Naiha that Naiha?" "I don't know." Wu Lingyu felt that he was being ignored by the woman in front of him. He did not fly into a rage, but his mood was still not good. Sima Yue pulled on his sleeve and said, "Don't be angry and don't move aside. Let's take a look." Wu Lingyu knew what she wanted to see. He nodded and stood still. The woman heard their conversation and knew that they would not let her go. Thus she shouted inside, "Naiha, you bastard, you ran away after sleeping with me. Do you really think that I can't find you? I will give you 10 breaths of time. If you don't come out, I will destroy your Sin Tower." Chapter 21-29. Sima Yue stared at the woman with sparkling eyes and secretly gave her a thumbs up. How brave. How bold. He even dared to sleep with a woman like this. TSK. Looks like this Naiha is also a powerful person. Everyone in the Sin Tower came out to watch the show. They did not expect someone to come to the Sin Tower to cause trouble. It's her. This fiend is here. There's going to be a show to watch today. Someone recognized the woman and pulled his companions away to watch the show. Sima Yue heard their reactions and became even more interested in the woman. She had the same reputation as Deja and dared to come here and yell loudly. She was definitely not an ordinary woman. The woman waited for a while, but there was still no response from the Sin Tower. She condensed her spiritual energy and threw it at the Sin Tower. Tisk! The Sin Tower lit up its defensive array and the woman's attack was swallowed by it. It only made a small sound before it disappeared. Sima Yue looked at the woman's eyes and suddenly understood a lot. The woman saw that her attack was useless. She stomped her feet and flew into the air to launch a few more attacks. Boom! She used a lot of strength this time. Even with the defensive array, the Sin Tower shook a few times. Even so, no one came out from the Sin Tower. The people who were watching the show were stunned. The Sin Tower was avoiding someone who came to cause trouble? Was this world a fantasy? This is unbelievable. Is this fiend so scary that even the Sin Tower wants to avoid him? How is that possible? Since when did the Sin Tower have someone they can't afford to offend? But let's not talk about the boss of the Sin Tower. Even the manager did not come out. Isn't this someone they can't afford to offend? TSK, there's no one the Sin Tower can't afford to offend. Then why do you think this is? It's most likely that he did something wrong and is too embarrassed to come out. The boss of the Zue Tower is from the Yin sect. This MOU is a fiend. Only when the two of them meet will there be a good show. Sima Yue was now sure that this Naiha was the Naiha that Yin Qi and the others were talking about. It was a little awkward to bump into the private affairs of a fellow disciple. The more the Sin Tower did not respond, the angrier the one called MOU became. His attacks became even more ferocious. Even the defensive array of the Sin Tower was about to collapse. In the Sin Tower, those people looked at the manager. Many of them were furious. Manager, are we just going to let that woman run wild outside? Someone finally couldn't hold it in anymore. That steward was very leisurely. She lay on the rocking chair and rocked her body gently. She said slowly, "You're going out? Sure, go ahead." Manager. The person who spoke looked at the manager helplessly. To let him go out alone. Wasn't that courting death? That woman is doing well. She will be our boss's wife. If things went wrong, it would be the boss's fault. If you go out and confront her now, do you think the boss will help you or her? Even Lei Feng is more important than you. If we go out now, we'll offend both good and bad people. Qin snorted. These people didn't know where the word nuisance came from, but they could roughly guess what it meant. But are we just going to let her continue attacking? If this continues, this Sin Tower will collapse. Don't worry, the boss won't let the Sin Tower collapse. Qin said confidently. He accidentally slept with her and is now hiding in his turtle shell. He'll definitely come out in a while. When the others heard her words, they couldn't help but twitch their lips. Was she calling the boss a coward? Boom. Boom. The attacks outside continued. Because of Qin's orders, no one in the Sin Tower went out. Naiha, who was hiding at the top, cursed Qin to his heart's content. Finally, he couldn't take it anymore and opened the window to go out. Sima Yue heard the commotion above her head. She looked up and saw a man in black clothes flying out and confronting Mou in the air. This was Naiha. After hiding for so long, he finally stopped hiding. Naiha felt an interested gaze. He lowered his head and met Sima Yue's gaze. A trace of killing intent flashed past his eyes. If it weren't for the two of them blocking the door, Mou wouldn't have caused a ruckus outside. And so many people wouldn't have seen and heard it. Feeling his oppressive aura, Wu Lingyu stepped forward and looked back at him without fear. Naiha, you coward, you're finally willing to come out. Why didn't you wait for me to tear down your Sin Tower before coming out? Mou saw Naiha and exploded. She switched her attacks from the defense array to Naiha. Naiha couldn't fight her, so he could only dodge. At this time Qin came out. Seeing Naiha dodging everywhere, she leaned against the door and said to the people beside her, "Did you see that? In order not to hurt this woman, the boss didn't even care about his reputation. If we come out and fight with this woman and hurt her, the boss will definitely find trouble with us." The manager is right. Luckily we didn't come out. Whether it's the future lady boss or the boss's wife, they're not people we can mess with. The people beside her agreed. Sima Yue heard the familiar words and turned to look. She saw a lazy woman. Qin saw Sima Yue looking at her and raised her eyebrows at her, saying, "Little girl, you did well just now." "You did well too," Sima Yue replied. She was just thinking about how powerful the Sin Door was, but when someone came to provoke them, they did not come out. So it was this woman who stopped them from coming in. "But, did you say the term wife?" she asked. "Yes, you know this term? I've heard of it." Qin looked her up and down, then smiled and said, "Fellow countrymen? Capital? Beijing. Emodu? Shanghai." "Damn, we really are old friends." Qin stood up from the door and came to Sima Yue's side, clicking her tongue saying, "I knew it. If I can come here, there must be others." Sima Yue also had the same thought, so she accepted it after a little surprise. "How long have you been here?" Qin asked. "A few hundred. What about you?" "About the same as you." "How did you come here?" "There was an accident on the plane, and I woke up here. I still can't get used to this fantasy world." Qin complained. "How did you come here?" "I was killed, so I came here," Sima Yue said casually. "Aren't you afraid that your boss will fire you if you treat him like this?" "Pfft, I hope that he will fire me. Then I won't be trapped in this place." Qin sighed helplessly. She looked up and said, "These two will probably talk for a long time. Why don't we go in and have a drink and chat?" "Okay." Sima Yue agreed. No one knew the Valley of Death better than Sin Tower. Chapter 2130. Sima Yue, Wu Lingyu and Qin were in the highest room in the Sin Tower, drinking, eating and chatting while watching Limbo and Mou chase each other outside the window. I really envy you, you've been to so many places. Chin said enviously. I've wasted so many years in the Avicii hell. You're not a ghost, Sima Yue said. No. I'm a human. I am the descendant of 2 humans. Chin said. The descendants of 2 humans who betrayed their vows. With my identity, won't I be despised if I go out? Or my family's genes? The people here don't know about genes. Sima Yue swirled the wine glass in her hand. Very few humans can survive in the Avicii hell, and even fewer have parents like this. You're probably the only human born in the Avicii hell. Hehe, thanks for your consolation. Chin raised her wine glass and clinked it with hers. The Avicii hell is different from the human world. It's really surprising that you can cultivate to such a high level here. Chin laughed bitterly. It's not me, it's the original body. When I came here, I already had a high level of cultivation. But for some reason, my memory doesn't have anything to do with cultivation. It's like it appeared out of thin air. I didn't know how to control the power in my body at first. Maybe it was originally yours, Sima Yue said. You brought it into your body. Who knows? Chin pursed her lips. Anyway, it's mine now, it's enough that I can protect myself in this place. That's true. Sima Yue felt that it wasn't a bad idea to not pursue the matter. There's one thing I'm curious about. If people who betray their oath can't leave the Avicii hell, what about their descendants? Have you tried? I tried, but it didn't work. Chin said. Once they want to leave the Avicii hell, they'll attract a lightning tribulation. Limbo said that if I can endure the lightning tribulation, I might be able to pass. But I don't have the guts to be struck by lightning. I don't have a lightning rod on my head. But you want to go out? Sima Yue said. Chin laughed helplessly. Yes, of course I want to. I don't want to be trapped here. But I've died once. I'm more afraid of death. Sima Yue knew that if it wasn't someone like her, everyone would be afraid of the lightning tribulation. If there is a chance later on, I can help you, Sima Yue said. You can help me? You can withstand the lightning? I'm used to it. Sima Yue shrugged. Chin, she told Chin. Damn, you're a walking lightning rod. Chin's eyes lit up. TSK, I didn't expect you to be so resistant. If you want to go out after I'm done with my business here, I might be able to help you. Yue, what do you want to do? Can I help? How long do you have to leave this place? You. What if I Yue? After so many years, she finally saw the hope of leaving this place. Wait until I come out of the Valley of Death, Sima Yue said. You can come with me then. You want to enter the Valley of Death? Yes. You signed up for a group? Yes. Speaking of which, are you the one who signed up for this? You. There are so many groups in the modern world. Why don't we use it for this? Chin said. You don't have to follow those groups, I'll bring you there. You? Sima Yue sized her up. Aren't you afraid of the dangers inside? Before I came here, my original body grew up in the Valley of Death. Who would know it better than me? What? Sima Yue was shocked. You grew up in the Valley of Death? You. It wasn't easy for my original body's parents to survive in the abyss of hell. Although a place like the Valley of Death is dangerous, at least it's not as dangerous as those people. That's true. Sima Yue understood. It would be best if you could come with me. You should leave the group you signed up for. It's hard to work with too many people. Are you giving me a refund? You look rich. Why would you care about the money? Chapter 2131. Sima Yue hesitated. She didn't know if she should tell them the truth. Why, is it hard to say? Chin asked. You don't have to tell me if you want to. But let me remind you, as long as we know what you are looking for, we will have a direction in the valley and won't waste too much time. Sima Yue thought about it and agreed. Since she needed her to lead the way, she would be told sooner or later. It was just a matter of time. What I am looking for is the godly medicine. PFFF. Chin spat out the tea in her mouth. Luckily, she turned to the side at the last moment. She wiped the corner of her mouth and looked at Sima Yue in shock. Old friend, what did you say you were looking for? Godly medicine? Yes. There is news saying that the godly medicine is in the valley of death, Sima Yue said. Qin Qin was stunned for a moment. Then she laughed out loud and slapped the table. Old friend, you actually believe this kind of rumor? This rumor has been spreading since before I came here, but I have never heard of anyone seeing it. Let me tell you, I was just joking with you, but you actually took it seriously. I feel that you are quite smart. Why would you believe such a silly rumor? Sima Yue knew that they would laugh if she said it out loud, so she waited for them to stop laughing before asking Qin Qin. You have lived in Siam for so long. Have you heard of the possible locations of the godly medicine? I have heard of it, but those places have been searched everywhere, Qin Qin said. If it really exists, it would have been discovered long ago. So, you should give up on this rumor. The godly medicine cannot possibly be in the valley of death. I still have to give it a try, Sima Yue said. I feel that since there is such a rumor, there should be some basis for it. Who told you this rumor? Why do you believe it so deeply? Naiha asked. Mulan. Who? Qin Qin felt that she didn't hear clearly. Your Lord Mulan, Sima Yue repeated. He told me that the godly medicine is in the valley of death. Damn, you know Lord Mulan. When you met him, did you feel like you were meeting a country's leader? I don't feel anything, Sima Yue replied. I need something from him. He said that if I bring it back, he will give it to me. Using a godly medicine for the same thing? It seems that this thing is very important to you. Yes. Therefore, in order to avoid conflict, finding the divine medicine is the best way. Alright, since His Honor said so, then the possibility of it being true is very high. I can take you in, but I can't guarantee that I'll be able to find it, Qin Qin said. Thank you, Sima Yue said gratefully. I'll go too, Helplessness said. Seeing Qin Qin and the others staring at her in surprise, she snorted and said, Before I left, Master and the elders of the sect told me several times to protect you. Now that you are going to such a dangerous place, I have to follow you to ensure your safety. Then I want to go too. Mou, who had been silent all this time, said. I'm going to protect young Marshal Uncle. Why are you joining in the fun? Helplessly disagreed. No, I want to go. Helplessness has been hiding for so long after you slept with me. Who knows if you will take this opportunity to hide from me again? Mou said. I want to follow you so that you have nowhere to run. Can you not always bring this up? Helplessness saw that Mou was about to explode again, so he hurriedly added. This is our private matter. You can say it yourself. Don't bring it up for others to hear. Mou's mood that was about to explode immediately changed. She hugged his shoulder and replied, All right. But if you want to go to Death God Valley, I want to go too. If you dare to abandon me and run away, I will destroy your Sin Tower. Forget it. If you want to go, then go. Helplessness was afraid that she would say something unpleasant in front of everyone again. So he agreed to let her go. In any case, with her strength, she had no problem protecting herself. Just the few of us? Sima Yue asked. Wait, we still need to bring someone. Qin Qin said as she took out a mother stone and inserted her spirit energy. After a while, an impatient voice came from the other side. What? There's something. Hurry up and come up, Qin Qin said. I'm not here. I can't go up. I saw you when I asked earlier. Can you hide? I'll give you 10 breaths of time, Qin Qin said and cut off the connection. Sima Yue felt that the old man's voice was a little familiar. Soon, the door opened and the old man that she met outside the door came in. It's you. The old man was a little surprised when he saw Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu. You've met? Qin Qin asked. Yes, we met at the door, the old man said. Why did you call me up? We're going to Death God Valley, Qin Qin said. Then let's go. It's not your first time there. Why are you telling me? The old man said. We're going to those places. Sima Yue didn't know where those places were, but they both knew. The old man frowned. Why are we going to those places? Naturally, we have our reasons. You're more familiar with those places than I am, so you have to go, Qin Qin said. I'm not going. The old man refused. Even the boss wants to go. How can you escape? If you don't go, the lady boss will deduct your salary. Chin Chin threatened. Mou heard the words lady boss and smiled kindly at Chin Chin. The old man found an empty seat and sat down when he heard that Jihe was going. This old man is also from Sin Tower? Sima Yue asked. Let me introduce you. This is Old Jiang, Sin Tower's right protector. Chin Chin said. Old Jiang, this is the boss junior master Sima Yue. Sin Tower has a right protector? Is there a left protector? Sima Yue asked casually. Yes. Me. Chin Chin said. Sima Yue was embarrassed. You have a sect master, a sect master's wife, and 2 left and right protectors. They're all going with me. Is that okay? What's wrong with that? If anything happens to you, those old men from the hidden sect will be furious. Jihe said. Then we're not going to care about Sin Tower anymore? If Sin Tower can't operate anymore after we leave, then what's the point of me, a former executive? Chin Chin said. Moreover, we have a secret method. We won't die in there. Sima Yue wasn't surprised. They had been in Death Valley for a long time and knew this place well. It wasn't surprising that they had a secret method to escape. When are we going? We can go anytime. It's up to you. Jihe said. We don't have anything to do. We'll just get someone to check out of the inn. If possible, I'd like to leave immediately. The sooner the better. Okay, I'll get someone to check out for you. Jihe said. Junior Master, let's make this clear. Once you enter, you have to listen to our arrangements. You can't act rashly. Otherwise, I'll have to force you out. Okay. Sima Yue replied. Then let's go. Chapter 2132. When Sima Yue entered the Valley of Death, she felt that it was similar to Heartbreak Valley. There were poisonous creatures everywhere. However, at that time, her body was immune to poison, and she could run around Heartbreak Valley. Now that she was only a soul, she had to be more careful. Luckily, before entering the valley, Jihe gave them anti-poison pills. In his words, after eating it, 80 to 90% of the poisonous insects and plants would not be able to harm them. It's really good stuff. Sima Yue took one and gave one to Wu Lingyu. She ate one herself. Will the Sin Tower provide pills like this to outsiders? There are different grades. Those that are sold in the sect can only prevent 30 to 60% of the poison. Only a few people can get such high-grade pills. Jihe said, although your poison skills are good, you don't understand the toxins here. You won't be able to do anything to them for a while. Okay. Thank you. Sima Yue was really grateful to them. Although it was the first time they met, they helped her so enthusiastically. Although Jihe did it for the sake of his fellow sect members and elders, Chin Chin wanted her to help her leave the abyss of hell. But she still thanked them. After entering the valley, Chin Chin's advantages were obvious. She told them several times in advance about the dangers, allowing them to safely pass through those dangerous areas. Up ahead is Qin Mountain. Chin Chin said. I grew up here. A man-eating spring? Sima Yue remembered the legend that the shopkeeper told her. You know about it? Before coming here, I heard a lot of legends from the shopkeeper. Sima Yue said. Is the spring true? Yes, it's true. Chin Chin nodded. But they didn't find a way and went in rashly. That's why they were corroded into bones. So you have a way? I grew up drinking spring water. Chin Chin's casual words made Sima Yue surprised. It's said that the spring water can help people cultivate. Could it be that your strength is due to the spring water? It's possible. But I've eaten a lot of strange things here, so I can't say for sure what it is. It's not in my memory, so we can only guess. Chin Chin felt helpless about the blank part of her memory. After being here for so many years, she was used to not thinking about it. When they arrived at the foot of Mount Qin, Sima Yue saw the mouth of the legendary dangerous spring. Other than the many white bones in the surroundings, this place was no different from other places. At this time, it was already late. The terrain here was quite open, and because of the spring, there were fewer poisonous creatures here. Chin Chin requested to camp here tonight and rest. The others did not have any opinions, especially Sima Yue who was a newbie. After setting up the tent, Mo Yu pulled helpless into the tent. Qin Qin, Old Man Jiang, and Wu Lingyu took Sima Yue to another part of Mount Qin. After passing through the small forest at the foot of the mountain, a hot spring the size of a basketball court appeared in front of them. This place is not bad. There are so many barriers outside, so not many people would find this place. Sima Yue said. Yes, this hot spring is not bad. Qin Qin took off her clothes and went into the water, waving at Sima Yue. Sima Yue went down as well, and the two leaned against the shore to take a bath and chat. I say, that guy in your family is really cold. I haven't seen him speak for so long. If he didn't talk to you so much, I would think that he doesn't know how to speak. Qin Qin said, with his looks, body and personality, it's a waste that he's not in the entertainment industry in the modern era. With his personality? Sima Yue smiled and shook her head. His personality is not important, he's really good to you. Qin Qin said enviously. It's so good to meet someone you like in this place. What about you and Helpless? What? Don't think that I can't tell what you're thinking. Sima Yue wiped the water with her hand. Although you keep calling her Lady Boss, I can smell that sour smell from 10 miles away. And NBSU rereading Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Godly Doctor. Chapter 2132. Crazy Wife. The anti-theft mode has been activated. Only half of the chapter is connected to the previous chapter. Please search the hidden parts on Baidu. Heartless plus water. Then search Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Godly Doctor. Watch. Chapter 2133. Sima Yue instantly lost the mood to joke. She looked at Mo Yu and asked, Is that true? I just came back from the ghost realm before I came to find Naiha. Mo Yu said. I heard that the Ghost Empress is pressuring the general to hand you over. She said that she can't let you cause a war between the two clans. Humph, this Aniheim finally got hold of my weakness this time. Sima Yue sneered. The aura that suddenly emitted from her body shocked Mo Yu and Qin Qin. They thought that she was just as peaceful as she usually looked. Yue, what are you going to do? Qin Qin didn't know much about Sima Yue's situation, but she could imagine how serious it was. My cousin won't be defeated so easily by Aniheim and Qinghan. I have to settle the matter at hand before I can go back. Sima Yue said. Although she was anxious, she couldn't give up halfway since she had already come this far. She could only hope that Deja could hold on. Because she had something on her mind, Sima Yue wasn't in the mood to continue soaking. After Mo Yu soaked for a while, the three of them went back. Wu Lingyu saw that Sima Yue wasn't in a good mood after coming back. She pulled her hand and asked her what happened. Qinghan has indeed started attacking the ghost realm. Sima Yue said. He's clamoring for the ghost realm to hand me over. Aniheim is also pressuring my cousin. Grandfather hasn't come out yet. I'm worried that my cousin can't hold on. Deja is strong, and the Ghost King won't let Aniheim be too strong. He'll give Deja his strength. He won't have a problem holding on. Wu Lingyu comforted. I think so too, but I'm still worried. Sima Yue said. I hope this trip will go smoothly. We can save Mother soon and go back soon. I'll get people to pay attention to this. I'll tell you immediately if anything happens. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. She heard Mo Yu exclaim. Following her gaze, she saw Qin Qin approaching the mouth of the spring with strange steps. Mo Yu screamed just now because she saw Qin Qin collecting the bones on the road. She subconsciously looked at helplessness. Although he was smiling, there was still an imperceptible worry in his eyes. Qin Qin's movements were very fast, and she soon arrived at the side of the spring. She took out 2 jade bottles and filled one to the brim. Only then did she return the way she came. Here. Qin Qin passed the jade bottle to Sima Yue and Mo Yu. Mo Yu put away the jade bottle and said, Why did you collect all those corpses? I'm used to it. Qin Qin said. It's also convenient. I don't care about those places that are too dangerous. Sima Yue understood what she was thinking. In the past, burials were very important. She was doing this out of respect for life. Thank you. She raised her glass to Qin Qin. Qin Qin, where's mine? Helplessness came over and asked. You used to give me a bottle every time. I've already given yours to the lady boss. Qin glanced at him indifferently. Besides, you've already drunk so much. Will it kill you to drink less once or twice? Qin, I'm your boss. Show me some respect, or I'll deduct your salary. Helplessness shouted. Deduct if you want to. Haven't you deducted enough all these years? Qin sneered and turned to return to her tent. Just you wait. I'll start deducting this month. Deduct all you want. I'll be leaving after this month anyway. Qin's lazy voice came from the tent. I've been squeezed by you for hundreds of years. I'm not afraid of one more month. I'm finally free. Qin. I haven't agreed to let you leave yet. Pfft, I don't intend to care whether you agree or not. A barrier lit up outside the tent, and there was no more sound coming from inside. I'm so angry, so angry. Helplessness stomped his feet in anger. Tell me, do you have a subordinate like him? Old man Jiang was already used to this scene. He didn't reply to Helplessness and turned to return to his tent. Sima Yue smiled at Helplessness and pulled Wu Lingyu back to the tent. She didn't want to get involved in their matters. The night passed peacefully. The next morning, when Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu went out, they saw Helplessness and Qin arguing in the distance. Helplessness was still flustered and exasperated like yesterday, but Qin was still as lazy as before. No matter what Helplessness said, she didn't change. As for Mou, she was also outside the tent, watching this scene silently. When she saw Sima Yue come out, she even smiled at her and greeted her. When Qin and Helplessness saw Sima Yue return, they stopped arguing and came back one after the other. Of course, Qin, who was walking in front, was in a good mood, but Helplessness, who was walking behind, had a face darker than the bottom of a pot. If you're done packing, we can continue on our way, Qin said. Okay. Sima Yue didn't ask what they talked about. After packing up, everyone continued on their journey. Because Qin and Helplessness were leading the way, the journey was very peaceful. The poisonous creatures in the valley seemed to have been tortured by them over the years, so they quickly ran away when they saw them, as if they saw poisonous snakes and fierce beasts. Seeing this scene, Sima Yue laughed for a long time. Just like this, they walked in the valley for more than a month, but there were no signs of the existence of the godly medicine. In order to save time, they didn't pick the good things that they saw. It might be the place where the godly medicine grows. We've searched everywhere, Qin said. Now that's the only place left. There? It's there. Qin looked at the few snowy mountains in the middle of Death Valley. If the godly medicine is really in Death Valley, I think it can only be there. Sima Yue could hear that she was a little afraid of the snowy mountains and asked, Are there really the legendary snow women there? I don't know if there are snow women, but I'm sure there are very powerful people up there. It's not easy to go up there, even I've only been to the foot of the mountain, but I've never really climbed up there. Then we're still going. Old Jiang has been there before, that's why he's leading the way this time. Qin said. So, they had long thought that the godly medicine wouldn't be in a normal place in the valley. For more than a month, they brought her everywhere to make her give up and confirm that the godly medicine wasn't there. There are many natural attacks on the snowy mountains, but I haven't seen any snow women. Old Jiang said. When we go up later, remember not to use your spiritual energy to attack anything you see. When they reached the foot of the snowy mountains, Sima Yue called Little Seven out. Because she was very sensitive to treasures, she might be able to sense its location. Little Seven was very happy to be able to come out. She held Sima Yue's hand and carefully observed the situation of the snowy mountains, hoping to sense something. However, they said that they found a bunch of things in the snowy mountains, but there was no sign of the godly medicine. Could it be that the godly medicine really wasn't here? Chapter 2134. Yue, we've already searched this place twice, but there's no sign of the divine medicine at all. We don't dare to go any deeper, but if there's a divine medicine there, we should be able to sense it from the outside. Qin said. Sima Yue had always thought that the divine medicine should be in this snow mountain. and that the legendary snow woman should be the divine medicine. But there was no snow woman here, nor was there any danger, nor was there any aura of the divine medicine. If even little Seven couldn't sense it, then there was an 80 to 90% chance that there was no divine medicine here. But to leave just like that? She was unwilling, and didn't want to give up. "I'll go take a look at the mountain in the middle," she said. "No." Old Man Jiang, Limbo, and Qin Qin all stopped her. "This snow mountain isn't as scary as the legends say. Why can't we go there?" Sima Yue didn't expect their reaction to be so big. "Those legends aren't true, but the danger is real," Old Man Jiang said. "The reason why we haven't encountered any danger is because Old Man Jiang took us around the dangerous places," Limbo said, "but he doesn't dare to go to the innermost place." "Did we encounter a dangerous place before?" Mou asked. "Although we can't see, there are many teleportation places here," Qin Qin said. "Those people who came here and disappeared were all teleported away." Old Man Jiang came to the side, picked up a rabbit-like underworld beast from the snow, and threw it not far from them. Before the underworld beast landed, it disappeared in front of their eyes. "Damn, there really are teleportation places," Mou said as she leaned closer to Limbo. "Where will they be teleported to?" Wu Lingyu asked. "I don't know. Maybe they'll go somewhere else. Anyway, those who left never appeared in the Avicii Hell again." Limbo looked at Sima Yue. "Even Old Man Jiang isn't confident that he can enter the innermost mountain. If you insist on going, I can only take you away by force." Sima Yue knew that Limbo wasn't joking. If she insisted, he would really insist on taking her away. If they fought, including Black Shadow and the others, he definitely wouldn't succeed. However, in a place like this, they would all be teleported away as soon as they made a move. "His honor will only give you the thing you want if you want the divine medicine? Is there any other way?" Qin Qin asked. Sima Yue shook her head. She looked at the highest snow mountain, and finally nodded. "Let's go back." She did not have the habit of making others pay for her actions. If she took it one step further, it would either be them who would be in danger for following her or him who would be in danger for stopping her. This was not what she wanted. However, seeing that she agreed to go back, he let out a long sigh of relief and said, "After we go back, we'll think of other ways. If it really doesn't work, we can ask the sect to step in. His honor will also give us some face." "Okay." Sima Yue forced a smile. Without finding the divine medicine, she really couldn't feel any better. They left the snow mountain, and went back the way they came. Half a month later, they returned to Mount Qin. What's going on?" Painful screams came one after another, and everyone could tell where the sound came from. "Someone wants to go to the mouth of the spring again." Qin Qin was already used to these screams. After so many years, she didn't know how many times she had heard it. Beside the mouth of the spring was the place where they camped tonight, so they didn't change their route and still walked there. Soon, they saw those people who were being corroded. There were more than 20 people in that group. More than 10 people were anxiously looking at the mouth of the spring, and a few of them were already scared silly. There were also a few people who were not far away from the mouth of the spring, and some of them had already been corroded more than half of their bodies. They couldn't even let out a scream, and could only make weak sounds. Beside those people, there were a few corpses and new bones. When the people who were waiting outside saw Qin Qin and the others coming over, they were all vigilant. You read The Crazy Wife, 5th Miss of the Divine Doctor. Chapter 2134. Crazy Wife. The anti-theft mode has been activated. Only half of the chapter and the previous chapter can't be connected. Please search for the hidden part on Baidu. Heartless plus water. After entering, search Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Divine Doctor Watch. Chapter 2135. 1, 2, 3. Qin Qin threw one out, and the people outside caught it. Then, the others quickly took out pills for them to eat. Qin Qin threw out the living people, and then put away the bones. Then, she closed her eyes and slowly walked out. "Thank you." The leader came to Qin Qin and bowed deeply. He took out a crystal card and handed it to her. Qin Qin took the crystal card and threw it into her space ring. Then she took out a small jade bottle and said to him, I've saved them for you. It's not suitable for healing here at night. Take them away. The leader took the jade bottle excitedly and bowed to her again. Then he left with his people. After they left, Mou came over and said, "Your idea is really good. This way there won't be strangers camping here tonight." "I'm telling the truth," Qin said. "At night, the air here will be corrosive. Those who are not injured will be fine, but those who are injured will be more serious. It's better for them to leave before night comes." "I see. I didn't expect you to be so kind." Mou smiled. "I've always been kind. The bad ones were all squeezed out by the boss." Qin complained. "Fortunately, these days are finally coming to an end. You really want to leave?" Mou asked. "Is it because I'm here that you—" "Boss, you're thinking too much. I've always wanted to leave, but I couldn't before." Qin leaned lazily against the tree trunk behind her. She looked at Sima Yue, who was staring blankly at the spring. She smiled and continued. "Now that I have someone from my hometown, I can finally leave this hell that has trapped me for so many years. This is an opportunity." "She can help you leave here?" Mou knew her identity, so she also knew that she couldn't leave the Avicii hell. "It should be possible." Qin wasn't sure. "We have to try, right? If you leave, he'll be sad." "Who? The boss?" Qin raised her eyebrows. "Yes, he'll have one less capable subordinate." "He won't. If he can exploit me, he can exploit others too," Qin said carelessly. She saw Sima Yue staring at the spring without moving. She walked over and asked, "What are you looking at?" "I'm thinking about the effect of the spring water," Sima Yue said. "Reviving the dead, regrowing flesh and bones. Isn't that the effect of the miracle medicine?" "Are you saying that the divine medicine might be here?" Qin looked at the spring in surprise. She had lived in this area for so many years, but she had never thought of this possibility. Otherwise, why would the water from a spring have such an effect? Sima Yue said. "Now that you mention it, it's possible." After Sima Yue mentioned it, Qin also felt that it was possible. "Should I go down and take a look? There are many dangers around the godly medicine," Sima Yue said. "No one else can get close to the mouth of the spring," Qin stated a sad fact. "All right then. If there's any danger, come up immediately," Sima Yue said. "I know. I'm not stupid," Qin said. "Although I thought that I might be able to go back if I die, I don't have the guts to try it after a few hundred years. Let's go when the sky turns dark." "All right." Sima Yue looked at Qin and smiled sincerely. After the sky turned dark, Qin prepared to go into the water. Sima Yue reminded her to come back immediately if there was any danger. "I didn't know that you could be so naggy." Qin waved her hand and started to walk towards the spring. "You've gained her approval." Helplessness came to Sima Yue. "It's not a condition that can help her. How did you do it? Is it because you all came from the place she mentioned? She told you?" "Yeah." Sima Yue pitied Qin. She even told him her biggest secret. She must have thought of him as her support. But she didn't get the love she wanted here. Or rather, Sima Yue looked at the worried helplessness and smiled. "Maybe the crazy wife, 5th Miss Godly Doctor that you read." Chapter 2135. Crazy Wife. The anti-theft mode has been activated. Only the first half of the chapter is not connected to the previous chapter. Please search the hidden parts on Baidu. Heartless plus water. Then search for Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Godly Doctor. Watch. Chapter 2136. I'm not sure if it'll work. Sima Yue smiled and helped her to the soft couch she had prepared. "Tell me about it." Qin took a deep breath as she accidentally pulled on her wound. "I saw that the way you went in was about the same. If I can imitate you, I might be able to." Sima Yue expressed her thoughts. "That's a good idea." Qin agreed. "But there are some differences between our bodies. Even if you copy my movements, you might not be able to enter safely. Since I'm going to learn, I can't make any mistakes," Sima Yue said. "What do you have in mind? You know that those national treasures are protected by infrared devices. If you want to get close quietly, You have to avoid those infrared devices. You want to use the same method? That's a good idea. We can simulate such an environment, and you can try to get through without touching any obstacles. After a while, you'll be able to grasp every position. Chin blinked. I've only seen this on TV. Have you done something like this before? Ahem. I didn't say that I was a good person. Ha ha ha. Who cares if you were a good person or not? Then let's try it according to your method. You should rest first. When you're better, we'll try again. Sima Yue said. Is there anything you want to eat? You know how to make it? I want to eat cola chicken wings, and French fries and fried chicken drumsticks. Chin stared at her with sparkling eyes. Okay. Sima Yue quickly made what Chin wanted to eat. Of course, everyone else had a share too. Chin gnawed on the chicken drumsticks and wings and sighed in satisfaction. I can finally eat the familiar taste again. How did you make cola chicken wings? I used a type of spiritual fruit acid to replace cola. Sima Yue said. You're so good at cooking. Your husband is so lucky. I've been here for so many years and I want to eat these things, but I can't make them taste the same. Chin said. Just tell me what you want to eat in the future. As long as it's not something I haven't eaten before, I can basically make it taste the way you want, Sima Yue said with a smile. All right. Chin looked at her sympathetically. You're doomed. Now that I know about your culinary skills, I'm sure I'll always ask you to cook for me. So what? Sima Yue did not feel miserable. I used to have friends and my senior sister who loved to eat. I often cooked for them. Really? Of course. If you go to the human world in the future, you might be able to meet him. Especially that senior sister of mine. Eating is the most important thing in her life. It's a pity that her culinary skills are mediocre, and she often poisons herself. This is quite similar to me. If you have the chance, you must meet your friends. You can come with me when I return to the human world. Sima Yue said. It's too dangerous for you to go to the human world alone. Sure. I'll follow you to the ghost realm first, then to the human realm. I'm not familiar with this place, so it's safer to follow you first. All right. Helplessly, looking at the two who were eating and chatting happily, her gaze was filled with sorrow. In the past, although this subordinate of hers did not pay much attention to her, she still had her boss in her eyes. Ever since Sima Yue appeared, she no longer had her eyes on her, as if she was about to fly away immediately. But this time, she seemed to have come back to life. In the past, although she would smile and talk to others, she made others feel that she was not happy. Chin's injuries only recovered about 50 to 60% after a few days of recuperation. When she could move again, she found an empty space, set up many wooden stakes, and then pulled many strings. She sprinkled white powder on the strings and let Sima Yue practice. Sima Yue looked at the dense strings and finally understood why Chin's body looked so strange. Oh right, I have to remind you that you can't use spiritual energy. You have to rely on your body's flexibility to control it. Oh right, there's also a time limit. You have to control it for half an hour now. Chin laid on the soft couch and ate the snacks that Sima Yue made for her leisurely. Sima Yue tried again and again. The Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Divine Doctor, that you read main text chapter 2136. Crazy Wife, the anti-theft mode has been activated. Only half of the chapter is not connected to the previous chapter. Please search the hidden parts on Baidu. Heartless plus water. After entering, search for Crazy Wife, 5th Miss Divine Doctor watch. Chapter 1177. Editor. Atlas Studios. Yue glanced at the Ghost Master discreetly. Ever since she arrived, he had rarely spoken. She wondered if he was usually like this. Yes. Chongming is a space-type spirit beast. Because of the contract, my understanding of space has increased a lot. Perhaps that's why I'm able to sense space better. Read 336. Chapter content begins. Deja looked her up and down. This little girl's personality was very similar to his aunt's in the past. If you must go, then follow me. Don't wander off. He was very fond of this fake aunt. That confident look, that gaze. It really seemed like he couldn't bear to reject any of her requests. You'll know later how much of a loss it is for you to not bring me along. Sima Yue said. I'll wait and see. Although Deja liked how confident she was, he didn't take her words to heart. As for those from the Ghost clan, none of them believed her words. They only hoped that she would not drag everyone down. However, they soon discovered that she wasn't exaggerating at all. With her around, they really avoided many spatial rifts and lost a lot of people. Are you a formation master? Deja asked during the break. Okay. Sima Yue nodded. You really are an array master. No wonder you were able to catch up to us unscathed. Why didn't you say anything before? The guard behind Deja asked. In the past 2 days, they found that the child of the Dark Princess had no concept of class, just like her. Even when they spoke to her, she would reply in an amiable manner. Sima Yue shrugged. None of you asked me. What a low-key child. Deja also neglected this matter, and realized that he knew very little about her. He asked, what else do you know other than arrays? I don't know how to refine weapons, but I plan to learn it when I'm out. Sima Yue said. You don't know how to refine weapons? Did that mean that he knew everything else? You're an alchemist? Yes. You're a beast tamer? I know how to tame beasts too. You are a seeker spirit master? I know a little. Then what can't you do? I just said that I don't know how to refine weapons. Sima Yue glanced at that person, thinking that this person had a bad memory. They could really understand their master's feelings. You've already persevered for 3 days. Let's rest for a few days before continuing. Deja said. No need. Many people came in before us. If there are any treasures, we can go and get a share. Sima Yue licked her lips and her eyes lit up. Deja looked at her hooligan temperament at the moment, and thought that his aunt was not like this. Was it because of that man's personality? If that was really the case, then her aunt's taste was too bad to fall in love with such a man. However, what they didn't know was that this hooligan temperament had nothing to do with his parents. He was born with it. But you look very tired now. We can't continue. When the Nether Beast saw the Chaos River water, it made gurgling sounds and swallowed the river water in one gulp. Then it squinted its eyes and rubbed it against Sima Yue's hand a few times. Are you the guardian beast of the divine medicine? Sima Yue stroked its head lovingly. Woo woo, the Nether Beast nodded. It was obvious that it understood what she said. Can I have the divine medicine now? Sima Yue asked for its opinion. The Nether Beast was a little hesitant. Guarding the divine medicine had always been its mission. In its consciousness, the divine medicine could not be given to others. However, it liked this woman so much that it did not want to go against her wishes. Moreover, she had good water to drink. It was so conflicted, so conflicted. Give it to me and I'll take you away, okay? Follow me and you'll have a lot of Chaos River water. Sima Yue continued to tempt it. After a mental struggle, the Nether Beast finally agreed. Although it did not say anything, Sima Yue could see it from its eyes. Thank you, Sima Yue said gratefully. The Nether Beast brought her to the second layer of the enchantment. Immediately, many Nether Beasts swam over. Yue. Qin Qin's voice trembled a little. Sima Yue followed her gaze and saw several Nether Beasts with long fangs approaching them. These should be the Nether Beasts that had injured her previously. The Crazy Wife, Divine Dr. Fifth Miss that you read chapter 2137. Crazy Wife, the anti-theft mode has been activated. Only half of the chapter can't be connected to the content of the previous chapter. Please search the hidden part on Baidu. Heartless plus water. After entering, search for Crazy Wife, Divine Dr. Fifth Miss Watch. Chapter 2138. The big guy rubbed against her body, as if answering her words. There are so many of them. Can you keep them all? Qin Qin asked as she looked at the increasing number of underworld beasts surrounding them. No problem. Sima Yue kept the little guys into the spirit pagoda first, and then the big guy. Qin Qin didn't know what she did. She only saw that the surrounding underworld beasts decreased one by one until they all disappeared. She glanced at Sima Yue and didn't ask anything. Let's go up. Sima Yue said. The two of them swam up, and the enchantment at the top disappeared. It seemed that it was also formed by the divine medicine. They came out of the water directly. When the people guarding outside saw that the two of them were safe and sound, they finally felt relieved. Good, I can still breathe. They patted their chest. They were really afraid that something would happen to the two of them down there, and they wouldn't be able to explain it to the sect when they returned. Are you hurt? Wu Lingyu stared at Sima Yue and asked. No. Sima Yue and Qin Qin came out of the water and dried the water on their bodies with spiritual power. The two of them were indeed not hurt. The underworld beasts below didn't attack you anymore? Mou asked. No. They are very friendly. Sima Yue said. Qin Qin glanced at her and didn't refute her words. Let's go over. What's wrong? Sima Yue saw that she was puzzled for a moment, and then showed an expression of understanding. She didn't know what she had discovered. The corrosive factors in the air are decreasing. Qin Qin said. It seems that these factors are also related to the divine medicine. It should be. Sima Yue looked back at the spring. I'm afraid that this spring will really become a legend. That's right. In time, this place will become an ordinary spring. Qin Qin also sighed. However, things are always changing. Maybe it wants to become an ordinary spring. We are not it, who knows? Haha, maybe you're right. Sima Yue smiled. When they returned, Qin Qin walked in front and Sima Yue followed behind her. Both of them returned safely. Sima Yue came to Wu Lingyu's side and said happily, "This is great, we finally got it." Once he obtained the divine medicine, he would be able to obtain the southern divine seal. After gathering all the 4 cardinal divine seals, her mother could finally be released from the seal. Yu is amazing. Wu Lingyu rubbed her head and said with a smile. I've encountered something else, I'll tell you later. Sima Yue whispered to him. All right. Mou came to Qin Qin's side and asked curiously, why didn't we encounter any attacks this time? It's obvious that her character is better than mine. I don't think I've done anything immoral. Qin Qin sighed. All right. Now that we've obtained the divine medicine, we should return, Naiha said to Sima Yue. All right. Sima Yue replied and came over with Wu Lingyu. They quickly returned to Shang City. Although I know you're anxious, you've just returned from the Valley of Death. You should rest before continuing. Naiha said to Sima Yue. All right. I've been quite tired recently. Sima Yue agreed and followed them to the Sin Pavilion, allowing him to arrange a room for them. After sending Qin Qin and the others off, Sima Yue set up a barrier and pulled Wu Lingyu into the Spirit Pagoda. The two of them went directly to the Chaos River. Wu Dash, the big fellow, sensed her arrival and came out from the bottom of the water, crying out happily. She didn't lie to him. There really was a lot of Chaos River water here. This is a prehistoric spirit beast? Wu Lingyu looked at the big fellow in shock. Yes, it's the guardian beast of the divine medicine. Sima Yue said. Maybe because I have the aura of the chaos realm on me. It didn't attack me and even let me pick the divine medicine. If not, I wouldn't have been able to obtain the divine medicine so easily. It's rare that it hasn't degenerated in such an environment. Wu Lingyu had never seen such a thing before. This was the first time. There's a barrier protecting it below. I think it's blocking the aura from the outside. That's why it didn't degenerate. Sima Yue guessed. It's not just it. Even the other spirit beasts are older than the current species. Luckily you have the aura of the chaos realm on you. Otherwise, I don't know how to deal with this. Wu Lingyu was relieved. Other than this, I have something else to tell you. Sima Yue said as she took out the God Seal. The last time I used the God Seal of the North, my underworld energy was almost depleted. If I use all 4 of them at once, I'm afraid I won't be able to handle it. One for each of us. I don't know if it'll work. Sima Yue wasn't sure. I'll ask Mulan when the time comes. If it doesn't work, then I'll have to try. We've passed all the difficulties before. Now that we're at the last step, it won't be difficult for you. Wu Lingyu comforted her gently. You're right, the road before was so difficult, but we've already walked through it. How could we be stuck at the last step? Sima Yue nodded, saying with certainty, I have to have confidence. Outside the house, Chin Chin was packing her things in a good mood. Many people were surrounding her courtyard, looking at her reluctantly. Steward Chin, are you really leaving? We can't bear to part with you. Chin Chin stopped what she was doing, walked to the door and slapped the head of the person who spoke. You're all half dead when I order you around. Now you can't bear to part with me? Why haven't you been squeezed enough by me? That's right. It wasn't easy being squeezed by you, but when I think about not knowing when I'll be squeezed by you again after you leave, I feel sad. That's right, Steward Chin, why don't you stay? The others echoed. That won't do. Chin Chin refused and turned back to the house to continue packing. I've always wanted to go outside and take a look. Now that I finally have the chance, how can I miss it? I don't want to be trapped here for the rest of my life. I'm finally going to take a look at the boundless world. Just thinking about it makes me happy. You want to leave so badly? A low voice came from behind. Chin Chin turned around and saw that those fellows had disappeared, leaving only Ji He standing at the door. His gaze was a little painful, which made her stunned for a moment. However, it was only for a moment. Boss, do you know? In our place, even if we work, we have to have weekends, long and small holidays, and annual holidays. You've squeezed me for hundreds of years. Now I need to rest. Use this time to go outside and take a look. You're willing to leave me behind. Boss, you have a lady boss now. You can't say such ambiguous words. You can't let me go just because you're used to squeezing me. This is capitalism, it's wrong. Are you really going to abandon me and leave? Didn't you say that you won't leave me? Chapter 2139. Chin Chin paused for a moment, then said disapprovingly, When I said this, you were about to die, right? So, you're living well now, so those words have disappeared along with your injuries. Chin Chin said, Besides, boss, if you don't give me a holiday, I won't be able to work properly. If I give you a holiday, you won't be able to come back. Once she left the Avicii hell, how could she come back to this place? Boss, if you can't bear to leave such a good subordinate, then why don't you leave with me? Chin Chin said half-jokingly. Ji He hesitated again. I'm joking. Why are you hesitating? Chin Chin smiled, then said seriously, I'm leaving, not asking for your opinion, but just informing you. Since this is already an established fact, you don't have to say anything more. You can just remove me from my position. You. Alright, don't disturb me, I still have to pack these things. I don't know when your youngest martial aunt will leave. If I don't finish packing, I don't think she'll wait for me. Chin Chin pushed him out impatiently, then slammed the door shut. Ji He stood in front of the door and stared at it for a while, then turned to leave. Just as he left the courtyard, he saw Sima Yue standing outside. I asked Ling Yu to bring the ancient book. In her situation, as long as she can survive the lightning tribulation, she won't be bound by the heavens anymore. Sima Yue said. Are you confident? Ji He saw Sima Yue looking at him meaningfully, then said, She's been with me for hundreds of years. I have to make sure she's safe. Oh. Sima Yue nodded. It's hard to say. We haven't experienced her situation before. I can only say that I'll try my best. But I can't guarantee the outcome. Can't guarantee? You're taking her life as a joke. Ji He raised his voice. Then he was afraid that Chin Chin would hear him, so he subconsciously looked back. Sima Yue was not angry. She pouted and said, She wants to leave and take a look outside. She had not come here to be trapped. She wanted to go out and listen. As long as there was a glimmer of hope, she would go. Although we haven't known each other for long, I'm sure of that. That's why it's useless for you to look for me. With that, she walked around him and entered the courtyard. Helplessly, he looked at her back, because he knew that what she said was right. As long as there was a chance, Chin Chin would definitely leave. However, he couldn't find any other reason for her to stay. 2 days later, Chin Chin left with Sima Yue and the others. Before she left, the people from the Sin Pavilion came to see her off. 10 miles of streets to send you off. TSK, I can't tell that you're so good at managing your subordinates. Sima Yue teased with a smile. I didn't know I was so popular. Chin Chin was touched, and her eyes reddened. Indeed, we probably won't have the chance to see each other again. It's normal to be sad, Sima Yue said. Qin Qin went to say goodbye to them and received a pile of gifts from them. Let's go. She steeled her heart and entered the teleportation circle. Once Sima Yue and the others entered, they could leave. Wait. Mou pulled Jihe out from the crowd. Why are you guys here? Sima Yue asked in surprise. We're going to the capital too. Mou said. Why are you going to the capital? I have something to do in the capital. I just got the news and they told me to rush back. Mou pulled the extremely unwilling Jihe. If I'm going, he has to follow me. I don't want him to fool around here. Since you guys are going to the capital, we can go together. Sima Yue smiled and said, Sure, let's go together. I knew you wouldn't reject me, Mou said and pulled Jihe into the teleportation circle. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu went in as well. The people from Sin Tower injected spiritual energy, and the teleportation circle immediately activated. Soon, they disappeared from everyone's sight. After a few turns, Sima Yue and the others finally arrived at the capital. Master, why are you here? Sima Yue didn't expect to see Xiaoling as soon as she came out of the teleportation circle. I'm managing some things in the family now, but it's not like before where I have to learn everything, Xiaoling said. I'm even opening a restaurant, Xiaoling said as if he was taking credit. Not bad, you've finally found a balance. Sima Yue was sincerely happy for him. Without Master, I wouldn't be where I am now, Xiaoling said gratefully. Master, where have you been for half a year? I went out to do some things. Is your uncle in the capital? Sima Yue asked. Yes, he hasn't left since he came back last time. But he always goes to the palace. I don't know if he's in his residence now, Xiaoling said. I just finished my work, I'll take you there. I'll go find him. You don't have to go with me, help me take care of my friend. After Sima Yue finished speaking, she turned to Qin Qin and said, Tell him what you want to eat. The food he cooks is also very tasty. Really? Qin Qin looked at Xiaoling and smiled. Hello, I'm Qin Qin, your master's friend. Although Xiaoling wanted to go, he couldn't go against Sima Yue's wishes. He could only agree. Then I'll take her to the restaurant. What about them? Sima Yue looked at Jihe and Mou. You don't need us to take care of you, right? Don't you have something to do? We do, but we still need to make sure you're safe. Otherwise, Jihe won't be able to calm down and follow me, Mou said. All right, Xiaoling, take them with you, Sima Yue said. I'll find you after I leave the palace. Jihe knew that Sima Yue didn't want to take them with her, because it wasn't good to let too many people know about this, so he didn't ask to come along. He only nodded and replied, All right, be careful. If there's anything, inform us immediately. If Sima Yue couldn't handle it, he would be representing the Yin sect. Yes, I know. Sima Yue watched as Xiaoling took them away. Before she went to find Silmer, he had already appeared. You're back. Silmer sized her up. Looks like you didn't lose any limbs. Are you worried about me? Sima Yue smiled at him. Think what you want. Let's go, His Majesty is waiting for you. Silmer brought her to the palace, to the place where Mulan was in seclusion. However, she was told that he went to the tower from last time. You're back. Mulan's weak voice sounded. Sima Yue looked over and saw him standing at the place where he looked at her from last time. He looked much older than before. Chapter 2140. How did you? Sima Yue looked at Mulan in shock. It had been less than a year, but to him, it felt like a century had passed. My body is not well. Mulan had a faint smile on his face. He didn't seem to be unwilling to die. Seeing him facing death so calmly, she felt pity for him. She subconsciously said, Can I take a look at you? Sure. I heard that your medical skills are very good. Mulan stretched out his hand. He didn't mind exposing his life. Sima Yue walked over and held his hand to check it. After a while, she let go. All your meridians and organs have degenerated. No wonder you need the godly medicine. Yes. Mulan retracted his hand. He lowered his eyes and smiled. Are you willing to give me the godly medicine now? Of course, but I have to add a condition. Sima Yue said. Say it. If the godly medicine saves you, you have to promise not to send troops to the Ghost Society. Sima Yue said. I don't ask you to help the Ghost Society, but at least you can't help the Soul Society. How about it? This condition isn't too much. You know about the Soul Society sending troops. Mulan said confidently. Yes. Sima Yue admitted. A triangular relationship is the safest, but it is also the most dangerous. Once two parties unite, the other party will definitely die. Then why don't you let me help the Ghost Society? Why do you only want me to stand by and watch? Chaos in the three realms? Then the entire ghost world will collapse. Sima Yue said. It's good that you don't want to interfere. If I let you participate, you might not agree. Mulan smiled. Her analysis was quite thorough. Okay, I promise you. I won't send troops to help the Soul Society. He agreed to her condition. Actually, the people from the Soul Society have already come. My lord has been thinking about it. I have to say, your condition is too good. Silmer said. Then I'm really lucky. Sima Yue said as she took out the jade box with the soleus flowers. She opened the lid and let them see the flowers inside. The moment the box was opened, Silmer and Mulan felt a gentle surge of energy wash over them. Just by smelling its scent, Mulan felt a lot better from the stuffy feeling in her chest. It really is a divine medicine. Its effects are extraordinary. Mulan exclaimed. Then Sima Yue took out the North God seal. Mulan understood what she meant, and took out the South God seal that he always kept with him. As soon as the two divine seals were infused with spiritual power, the light they released immediately fused together. Mulan retracted her spiritual power, and tossed the Southern divine seal to her. Sima Yue caught the Southern godly seal, and gave it to him. Neither side thought of going back on their word, so the exchange process went smoothly. Mulan did not rush to consume the godly medicine. Instead, she looked at Sima Yue and asked, Do you know how to use the four corners godly seal to break the seal? Sima Yue was thinking about this in her heart. She did not expect him to bring it up before she even asked. I really don't know. I was just about to ask you. Sima Yue said. I tried it the last time. Just the North God seal alone almost drained my spiritual power. If all four seals are used together, I won't be able to hold on. I don't know how I can solve this problem. Can four people do it together? So you've already discovered this problem. Mulan said. It's impossible for four people to use it together. This is because the four corners godly seal has to be put in at the same time. So you have to do it alone. But if I do it alone, I'm afraid I won't be able to do it even if I become a mummy. So you have to refine them. Mulan said. Only when you completely possess them can you control them. That will take a long time. Sima Yue was still worried about the war between the Soul Society and the Ghost Society. If it dragged on for too long, she did not know what would happen when she returned. There's no other way. Sima Yue was silent for a while. Then she said, I understand. Thank you, my lord. Do you need me to provide a place for you? And Chapter 2141. Half a year later, Sima Yue finally came out of seclusion. When she found Qin Qin was discussing food with Xiaoling. Helplessness and Mou were at the side, their faces as dark as the bottom of a pot. Mou was angrily pinching and hitting him. Her arrival broke the strange atmosphere in the room. Master. Yue. Little Uncle Master. The first two were surprised, but the latter was weak. You're all here. Sima Yue walked over and said to Helplessness. Why are you all still here? Have you settled the matter? It's done, but someone said that his junior martial uncle is in the Avicii Hell, so he has to follow and protect you until you leave the Avicii Hell. Mou said sourly. Although the sect said so, you don't have to do this. Sima Yue said. I don't dare to disobey Master's orders. Helplessness said lightly. Then you arrange it yourself. Sima Yue didn't say much. Yue, have you finished what you wanted to do? When are we leaving? Qin Qin asked. It's done, but Ling Yu isn't back yet. We can only leave when he's back, Sima Yue said. Xiao Ling's eyes lit up when he heard this. Does that mean Master has nothing to do while we're waiting? Yes, I guess so. Sima Yue nodded. Then Master, can you teach me how to cook? Let me see if my cooking skills have improved. Sure. Great. I'll go back and tell my family not to look for me for the next few days. Xiao Ling turned and ran out after he finished speaking. Now that he was learning how to manage his family no longer objected to him cooking. Therefore, it was okay to take a few days off. When Xiao Ling came back, Qin Qin put the menu in her hand on the table and said, When is that person coming back? In a few days. Sima Yue wasn't sure either. After she came out of seclusion, she contacted Wu Lingyu. He was almost done with his matters, but he still needed a few days to come back. Oh. Sima Yue looked at her, and then at helplessness. She smiled. For the next few days, Sima Yue and Xiao Ling cooked together. This made Qin Qin's disappointment and annoyance disappear. There was good food every day, so time passed very quickly. Not long after, Wu Lingyu came back. All right. Let's call it a day. I will enter the palace to see his honor, then I will leave. Sima Yue said to Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling couldn't bear to part with her, but he also knew that she couldn't stay. His eyes reddened slightly. Master, if you come to the Avicii Hell again, you must come and find me. I will. Sima Yue patted her shoulder. You don't have to be sad. Maybe we'll meet again in the future. Yeah. Although she said that, Xiao Ling felt that she was comforting him. He was afraid that after this farewell, they might not have the chance to meet again in this lifetime. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu entered the palace, and saw Mulan, who was in high spirits. It seems that his honor's body has recovered, Sima Yue said. It's all thanks to the divine medicine that you brought back. I owe you my life. Mulan replied. His honor is too serious. This was originally a deal between us. You don't owe me anything. Sima Yue wasn't greedy. Let me check on you again. Okay. Mulan stretched out his wrist. Sima Yue went forward and checked for a while. Your injured body has basically recovered. However, the effects of the divine medicine haven't been completely absorbed. It's not good for it to stay in the body. You still have to pay attention to absorbing it. Okay, I will. Mulan said gently. You're preparing to leave? Yeah. I have already completely refined the Four Corners divine seal. I came to say goodbye to you and leave. Sima Yue said. You actually came to ask about the war between the Soul Society and the Ghost Society, right? Hee, it's just convenient. Sima Yue laughed. She definitely wouldn't admit that her main purpose was this. Speak. The Crazy Wife. 5th Miss Godly Doctor that you're looking at. Chapter 2141. Crazy Wife. The anti-theft mode has been activated. Only half of the chapter and the content of the previous chapter can't be connected. Please search the hidden parts on Baidu. Heartless plus water. After entering, search Crazy Wife. 5th Miss Godly Doctor watch. Chapter 2142. Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu rested for a while, waiting for Wu Lingyu to recover to his best condition before letting him bring them in. As for Qin Qin and the other two, they were left outside. Wu Lingyu would be under more pressure if he brought one more person. It would not be worth it if he was injured. And she wanted to break the seal. Who knew what would happen then? It would not be safe for them to go in. They had been here once, so they went to the crater with ease and went down to find Sima Lu Xian and Yukaluo. Father, mother. Sima Yue saw that both of them were in good condition, so she smiled and greeted them. You're back. Yukaluo saw Sima Yue and was very excited. Are you okay? She had been gone for almost 2 years. Yukaluo would often worry about her outside, and whether she was injured. Mother, I'm fine. I got the Southern God seal. Sima Yue said with a smile. I'll save you in a while. Squeak, squeak. Xiaohua fell from above and landed directly in her arms. After not seeing him for more than a year, he had grown a lot. Little guy, did you miss me? Sima Yue scratched his head, sighing that the contract was really a magical thing. It made two parties who had never interacted with each other have different feelings. Squeak squeak. Xiaohua rubbed against her arms. Hee hee, you little guy, you grew so much in such a short time. Did you eat all the fire elements here? Squeak squeak. It's not just me, there's also Qi Yan. Yu Keluo heard her and said, it's really possible. In these 2 years, the temperature here has been getting lower, it's more comfortable. At this time, Qi Yan came down from above. Sima Yue noticed that his breathing had stabilized. She asked happily, you've recovered? Yeah, almost. Qi Yan replied. That's great. Qi Yan was so seriously injured this time, it was all because of her. She had always felt guilty, but she could not help him recover. Now that he was better, the guilt in her heart could dissipate a lot. The last time you only used the Northern Divine Seal, it consumed a lot of spirit energy. Can you control the cardinal directions Divine Seal well? Sima Luxian asked worriedly. He really wanted to save Yu Keluo, but if he had to sacrifice Sima Yue's life, he would not agree. She thought that she had hidden it well, but she didn't expect to be found out. Then did he notice it too? Sima Yue turned around and glanced at Wu Lingyu. The latter winked at her. Father, don't worry. I have already refined all the 4 cardinal deity seals. They now belong to me completely, so the situation last time won't happen again. Sima Yue said. Really? Of course it's real. Sima Yue said. I've already obtained the Southern God Seal half a year ago, but it took me half a year to refine it. That's why I've only returned now. Our family hasn't truly reunited yet. I won't joke about my life. Sima Luxian obviously didn't believe her words, and turned his gaze to Wu Lingyu. Wu Lingyu nodded. He was really relieved. He knew that Wu Lingyu would never let her mess around. Father, I'll bring you out first, then I'll break Mother's seal. Sima Yue said. Okay. Sima Luxian wouldn't hold her back at this time, so he obediently followed her out. Before going out, she left me air behind. If anything happened here, he could tell her the situation inside. If there was any danger, he could integrate himself into the mountain. When they were outside, she asked them to leave, then she began to attack the crater. When the spirit energy touched the crater, it immediately triggered the power of the seal. A force with an ancient aura attacked her. She used teleportation to avoid it. However, she noticed that around the crater, 4 milky white positions were faintly discernible. She remembered the 4 empty positions in the cave. This should be the projection of those, but these are all connected. Wu Lingyu came to her side. Like last time, I'll attack and you'll place the 4 corners divine seal. Then be careful. The power outside is much stronger than inside. Sima Yue warned. Wu Lingyu nodded at her, then flew to a farther place and began to attack. Sima Yue flew to the top of the crater. Although most of the power was attacking Wu Lingyu, the entire seal was shaking and the power was unstable. There were scattered powers everywhere, so she would be affected. The protective shield she condensed couldn't withstand 2 attacks, so she had to divert her attention to deal with these powers. Squeak squeak. Xiaohua jumped over from nowhere and sat on Sima Yue's shoulder. A red circle immediately appeared around Sima Yue. When those powers came into contact with the red circle, they would be incinerated. Although this power wasn't as strong as little birdie's, it was still very special to be able to condense a protective circle. Thank you. Sima Yue thanked Xiaohua. This way, she could focus on placing the 4 corners divine seal. She injected some spiritual energy into the 4 corners divine seal. The 4 corners divine seal was activated and flew towards the 4 milky white positions under her control. At this moment, she was very glad that she didn't need to use all of the 4 corners divine seal's power, so she didn't need too much spiritual energy to control it. Although she had refined it, she probably still wouldn't be able to use all of its power. Zheng. The 4 corners divine seal entered the positions and let out a long sound. After all of them entered the positions, the crazily attacking seal calmed down. Then, a colorful light appeared and merged with the light of the 4 corners divine seal. The entire sky was lit up. Qin Qin and the rest were watching from outside. Although they didn't go in personally, They could feel the turbulent waves inside. I wonder what it's like to be in there. The two of them are too powerful, Chin Chin said excitedly. She finally succeeded. Helplessly was happy for her. When he heard about her in the sect, he knew that her goal was to save her mother. Now that he thought about it, her journey was really bumpy. Yuko Luo had been nervous ever since Sima Yue and the rest left. After being suppressed for so long, if they didn't find her, she never thought that she would be able to get out. Now that she knew that she could get out, she was excited and afraid. Could she really get out? Or would she be happy for nothing? Thinking about this, she was worried that Sima Yue would hurt her. In short, her heart was filled with anxiety. Just as she was worrying, a white light lit up around her. Then, she saw the shadow of the Four Corners divine seal slowly approaching the white light and firmly clasped onto it. Buzz buzz. After more than 100 years, the seal that had been shrouding her had finally disappeared. You're tuning in to the Echoes of the Heart YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.